Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to J is for Justice. Please hit that like button on your way in, and let's welcome everybody in. Hey, Vogue Mod, Flobo, look at Flobo. 41 months here on the channel. Yay! Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Flo. I saw Angie B's name. Thank you so much, Flobo. She says, I remember the day I joined. It was a YouTube sweep of demonetization. I think it was 411 with Jay. So many friends made, tears shed, and jokes told. I love you, Flobo. Love you. Hey, Angie B, I love you, girl. Vogue, love you, girl. We missed you last night. You were probably sleeping. Hello, Miss Hexie. Hi, Belinda Buckner. Ostrich, Miss Jamie, Tiffany B is here. Patricia, all above the rest. Can we discuss the bird shit? Sure. So my cat has been bringing in birds, blue jays to be exact. How ironic, right? What up, Marcy, my girl? Higgins. So anyway, she brought one in yesterday, and when I came in here, I forgot to tell you guys this last night, but when I came, because there's like feathers just randomly everywhere because this bird was flying around my studio. Well, when I sat down last night, there was bird shit on my monitor. So the thing was flying around my studio and shit on my monitor screen. You were sleeping too, Angie B, I figured. I hope you're feeling better, hon. Sophia coming in hot with 20 months. You guys are awesome.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
She did have a bell, but she actually took it off. I bought her a new collar, and then she removes them. So I know she thinks it's a little gift. Hello, Auntie Cheryl. Good to see you. Love you, girl. PT's coming. Well, work your little booty off, girl. Work your booty off in that PT. I hope you guys are having a great Monday morning. We have some updates, a lot of updates to go over in the Hooker case. Ashley just dropped another one about 20 minutes ago. Good morning, Penny. Good morning, Sparky. Had some shit to say, right? Oh, dude, I was so scared. Belinda Buckner, I was under my desk. Like there was a tornado coming. You know, when you're in school, they're like, get under your desk with a book. That was me. Good morning, Hossein. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Steph. Good to see you guys. So, yeah, we've got that. And then we've got an article to read about Nancy Guthrie. It's kind of interesting. Brian Etten was given an exclusive to Parade. We're going to read that. She comes twice a week. Yeah, I'm sure. It would have been great if it was recorded, right? My voice is actually hoarse because I was screaming both times. It did. It scared the shit out of him. Hi, Seven. Hey, Flannel. It's the same way with bats. Oh, yeah, I can't do pet birds. I can't do birds inside. That scares the crap out of me. I used to have a parakeet when I was a kid. I had a parakeet, but I was scared of his beak. There's no way I'm touching birds. I'm just not doing it. So anyways, that was my excitement of the weekend. Did some work outside. How's the weather where you guys are at? Are you guys getting some spring weather? Caw-caw. You getting any spring weather? You can plant some flowers. We're going to be doing another mobile live on Every Day with Jay to get ready for CrimeCon. Just as a reminder, the end of this month, I'm going to CrimeCon in Vegas.
Fuck it.
We're going to do it live.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
I don't want any bird around me. Hey, Crimes. You're at the doctor. I hope everything's okay. 60s, 70s. Nice. Nice. Hey, listen, Belinda, I don't blame you. I don't like things that are flying around with big old sharp beaks. It's warm in Idaho. Nice. Crochet. Good to see you. If I missed anybody, welcome in. Hi, Nick. It's getting hot for the UK. It's a bank holiday, so I've been in the garden. Did you have your tea in the garden this morning with crumpets? Good morning, Leo. So we're going to be live at CrimeCon at the end of the month. I'm going to show you the experience through my eyes. You're going to come along with me wherever I go. Sunny and cool in the Bay Area. Nice. 58. Would you be surprised if I told you I have an Amazon parrot named Bird? Oh my God, no, I would not be surprised. But that's so cute. He'll be 39. I love parrots. Parrots are amazing. I just don't want them in my house. Coffee and crumpets. Linda Kramer, I can't wait. I can't wait. And I'm so glad that you guys are going to be with me. Hey, Rollins. All right, well, I say we get into it. We're going to do the Hooker stuff first. I'm just waiting. Is this guy going to get arrested, you guys? What do you think? Is Brian Hooker ever going to get arrested? So the first one we're going to watch from Ash is the Strange Light Activity. And I'm behind. I'm excited too, Belinda. I'm so glad you're going to be there. Hey, Higgsy. Insurance wellness check. Ugh. No caffeine. Oh, I hate those days. I hope you get yourself a nice, good drink after. You think he'll be arrested? Everybody's like, yeah. Penny misses crumpets. What are they? Are they like biscuits? Are they like scones? Scones. Anyways, if you guys could hit the like button, it really does help get the video out into the YouTube algorithm. That's really the only thing that does it, is likes, chatting, and commenting. Those are the three main things to get my videos out in the algorithm: commenting, chatting, and liking. Everything else is a bonus, and I thank you for your support for my channel and becoming members and gifting memberships and all that stuff, and of course for the Cooter chats. Good afternoon, Kelly Mack. But that is the baseline of getting this shit pushed out there, right? So make sure you hit that like button. It really is more important than you think. All right, here we go. It is high noon. Let's go. Brian Hooker update.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield and this is Drop Dead Serious. Welcome to the podcast. If you're new to us, welcome. This is great to have you. We've been having a whole lot of fun, and also we've been doing a whole lot of really good work and trying to figure out what happened to a woman named Lynette Hooker, because her husband Brian Hooker swears that he was on his way back with her in a dinghy from a lovely, late afternoon evening of some cocktails in the Bahamas, and wouldn't you know it, she just bounced off the back of the dinghy and I couldn't get to her. And
just
so suddenly she had all the controls. Out she went with the keys, and the bag and the oar broke, and I floated all night 4 miles away, and they found me at 4 a.m. And I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. Find my wife, but I'm not going to help. So that's the story that we've been working on. And I know a lot of you watching right now are way ahead, but I want to make sure that I keep folks up to speed who might be just tuning in. And so we do have an amazing playlist in the description below if you want to kind of get up to speed on all the voluminous information that
we're going to skip a little bit.
I have some breaking news tonight, some information to share with you.
Breaking news.
To that particular part of the story. Did something happen on board Soulmate? Because what I'm about to show you suggests something was happening on board Soulmate. Way after Brian should be drifting across the...
Oh, I forgot to thank one person, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to forget anybody. Ms. Crit, thank you for renewing your membership. And Marcy, thank you for the super sticker. I'm sorry I missed those guys. But thank you.
The Sea of Abaco to the place where he was marooned the next morning. So again, to just get you up to speed on that story, we are another 2 days away from the fourth week, the fourth week since Lynette Hooker went missing on Saturday
already.
night, April 4th, the night before Easter Sunday. 4 weeks is a long time. If you are Lynette's mom, if you are Lynette's daughter, if you're Lynette's friends, her family members, like, it is interminable. It's horrifying to be in this situation that they're in. But 4 weeks is kind of nothing in an investigation, especially if there is a suspicion that something may have happened along the lines of, I don't know, murder, maybe, allegation only. And so, mark my words, as I usually say, everything is calm like the duck above the water. And then those little paddlers are going like mad under the water where we don't see them. And that's my estimation of what's happening with the police. Law
I can't
enforcement
believe
is
it's
working
been
really hard on this case. And
I can't believe it's been 4 weeks, but she says law enforcement is working hard on this case, so he can still be charged here in the U.S. for something that happened there. Remember, we found that out. So if the U.S. presses charges, it would have nothing to do with the Bahamas, right?
And I keep saying this, that the United States Coast Guard Investigative Services, they are no joke. They just got a big conviction yesterday in another case, and they are no joke. These guys are solid investigators. They've got an incredible team on this. I have seen them. I actually met them because I walked right up to them on the docks there and said, hello, I can tell you have a cadaver dog, you know. And so I can tell you they are working their asses off. And so, again, quick synopsis for you. That's kind of the story, but there's so many pieces that we've discovered that it would be really great to hit the playlist and you know, jump up to speed on this particular story before I start breaking a bunch more other stuff. And don't forget, subscribe if you haven't. Thanks, you'd be doing me a solid. Also, do the thumbs up, the like thing, because you may not think it does anything, but it really does. It's awesome. It's super helpful. But let me get right to some of the news that I can break for you tonight. Some of the discoveries that we have found. Lindsay and I have been busting our butts, and we learned a couple of things. And by the way, very thankful for a couple of you who reached out.
For Nancy, it has been over 90 days. I think it's been 93 days or something like that. 3 months for Nancy. Jen Fisher, hey girl. Lisa from Tennessee, good to see you. Good morning, guys.
To me and sent me an email and some video. I'm talking to you, Dean Zomzile. You are awesome. Dean Zomzile sent us his security video that points right out from Lubbers and points eastward to Pat's Bay. Goes all the way from Tahiti Beach to the White Sound Channel, which is basically the area in question of what happened the night Lynette disappeared. So this incredible surveillance video that sort of goes across the Sea of Abaco is great. It's grainy though. And so we have been like going over every inch of it.
Steph, I don't know if you were here last night. I don't think you were. Did you miss? I don't remember seeing you last night. I think I would have remembered. We were wondering, how do you verify, you know, and this is a question for everybody. How do you verify if someone is former FBI? Like if someone says, I'm former FBI, how do you vet that? Like, is there a way to vet that?
Right from 7 o'clock on through to 9:30 at night, just to figure out if we can see anything. The other night we brought you a story of what we thought might be a little black dot that could be a dinghy passing by, a very wide transom, a white catamaran that is parked, you know, one boat north of what looks like Soulmate. That's the boat that Lynette and Brian Hooker have been living aboard for the last 4 years. And the boat that they threw anchor down right off of Elbow Key, 150 meters from shore. So Dean has 2 daughters who are equally as awesome. Looking at you, Katie Kelly and Julianne Berrienbrook have been helping me look through all of these videos, and they pinpointed some things for Lindsay and me to look at and to really assess. And we want to show you what we think is sort of we're calling it a light event on board Soulmate. But before I get to that, I want to give you a little bit more information about the story that Brian Hooker tells about having floated off with no keys and no oar, and the waves were 2 to 4 feet high and the wind was howling, which is not true. Too many people and too many videos and too many marine assessments and, you know, actual measurements have proven that that's just not true. The waves were...
That's the footage of the actual water that day.
many marine assessments and, actual measurements have proven that that's just not true. The waves were not like that. The wind was not like that. And so his whole business of losing sight of her in between the big waves and being pushed away from her and the currents were taking her away and the tides, all bullshit. But it's important to know, he says that happened just after they'd left the Abaco Inn. So timeline, if he says they left at 7:30 after cocktails, and we have a video, and we have pictures rather, of seeing him at 7 p.m. walking towards the dock. Don't know if he left the dock, but that picture, we just have a picture of him walking to the dock at exactly 7 p.m. Well, about 6 to 8 minutes after puttering out with your dinghy out the White Sound Channel and then turning south towards where Soulmate was docked in Aunt Pat's Bay, it would take 6 to 8 minutes to get to the zone where he swears she bounced right off in this, Andrea Gale storm. And so what's super interesting is that he said he began floating across the Sea of Abaco in the dark. Couldn't see her anymore. It was dark. Well, that's 8 o'clock at night. So your timeline doesn't work here. But nonetheless, he says he's floating across the Sea of Abaco and he gets to Lubber's quarters. That's where Dean Zomzile's camera is. He's got a house facing to where Soulmate and where all this business would have been going on. And he's trying to get to Lubbers with the one oar that he has left. With the other one, broke the pin and I lost it. Well, that's never been found. But could not get to the north shore of Lubbers. So then he threw an anchor down.
Dude, she is tearing up his story.
Left with the other one, broke the pin and I lost it. Well, that's never been found. But could not get to the north shore of Lubbers. So then he threw an anchor down. He threw an anchor down on the north end of Lubbers. Well, it's like just a couple feet. It's like, super duper shallow. The locals have reported to me there's a huge reef all the way around the north shore of Lubbers. So you could get out and stand. Yeah, you could get out and stand. When you threw your anchor overboard, it would have gone kerplunk, gunk. That's kind of what it sounds like. Kerplunk is breaking the water and then gunk hitting the bottom. Oh, basically it only took 5 feet of rope out with it. I can get out. No, but he didn't do that. He put the anchor down because he fired off a flare. Don't ask why he's anchoring now, already a mile from where she bounced out. Whatever, it's his story. Let's let him tell it. Firing off a flare from the north end of Lubbers, sitting on the...
So are we going to see a flare? Did he fire off the flare or did she?
Reef in just a couple feet of water. Okay. So we actually have some witness reports of seeing a flare. Wow, I said when I heard this. Really? Tell me more. Turns out sources have told me more, like a lot more. And it ain't good for Brian. The sources, you'd think it is good for Brian, right? Oh, somebody saw a flare. Brian must be telling the truth. Not quite.
Nope.
First of all, the flare is coming from multiple people who were all in a group together. They all saw the same thing. I don't know the exact number of people, but it's more than 3. Oh, so this group of people, I believe they are on land over on Elbow Key. Right, so they're looking out towards Lubbers, and they're seeing the sailboats all anchored out in front of them, and then Lubbers is behind them. Okay. So this group of people, all together, all said they saw the same thing. They saw a flare going off at, you ready? 8 p.m. 8 p.m. That would be 15 minutes after Brian says he's had this massive struggle, and off, Lynette went, I couldn't get to her, and I began floating, and then I get to Lubbers, and...
Oh, my God. So 8 p.m. they saw the flare. That doesn't even match up to his timeline either. But we see him leaving the Abaco Inn at 7 by himself. Oh, shit. Did he fire it at her? I don't know, but she is like a dog with a bone. She is like a dog with a bone on this story, and I love it.
And I throw the anchor down, and I set a flare. Well, that ain't 15 minutes. And guess what else?
Hi, Val.
This group reports that the flare did not go off at Lubbers on the north end. The flare went off, according to these witnesses, at Soulmate, Brian and Lynette Hooker's sailboat, their 46-foot catch.
Oh, I have chills. I haven't seen this yet. So the flare went off on the Soulmate at 8 o'clock. Oh, my God. Even Streamlabs said yikes. Fuck. So we've got Brian leaving. Oh, wait, let's back up. We've got them walking to the dinghy at 6:40, whatever, 6:35, whatever, together. Then we have Brian walking back to the dinghy at 7. And now we have a flare going off of the Soulmate after he said she fell off the dinghy on the way to the soulmate. Snaz, good to see you, honey.
Well, what do you know? Witnesses, multiple, all said they saw the same thing. They saw a flare go off from soulmate, from
Yikes.
the Hooker's yacht at 8 p.m. So what happened? Who fired a flare?
I'm thinking she fired a flare. Who do you guys think fired it? Why would he? If they were fighting and she's the one that's being held down like the stories tell, think about it. Help me. If they saw it, why didn't they fucking help? That's another question. If you see a flare, aren't you supposed to go see what's wrong? Was it even completely dark at 8 o'clock? I bet she did. Why would he do it, you know? He wouldn't want to, like, bring attention to the fighting. They made it back to the fucking soulmate. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Snazzy, enjoy your time working in the garden. I love listening to my shows and working in the garden. It's chef's kiss. He had 9 hours to float and get rid of the body who says he didn't have the key or a copy of the key to the dinghy. You think he fired it to make his story believable? Already at 8 o'clock, though? They just left the Abaco Inn at 7. It takes 10-15 minutes to get to the soulmate. So let's say they got back to the soulmate at 7:15. We've got 45 minutes before that flare goes off. And we have Brian saying, you know, when people ask, what was she wearing? What was she wearing? Black two-piece bathing suit. That's it. Nothing about a cover-up. Nothing about a headscarf. Nothing about sunglasses. Nothing about her watch. So did she already take that stuff off? It had been 45 minutes back on the boat. You've been out all day?
From soulmate, if these witnesses are accurate.
But he only had 2 rum and cokes at the Abaco Inn in a few hours. So I don't think he was plastered.
Why would a flare be fired from soulmate at 8 p.m.? It's just dark. It just got dark like 4 minutes prior. It started to go, can't see dark.
Okay, so it just got dark. She answered my question. So at 8 o'clock, it had just gotten dark. Like, remember how she said it's like one, you see light, and then boom, you don't. So that happened. Flare goes off. Let's continue.
And that got me thinking, okay, let me recalibrate here. Maybe they got back in the dinghy from the Abaco Inn, and that 15-minute max dinghy trip got them to soulmate. There was no bouncing off the back baloney story. Maybe they got back to soulmate. Maybe they got back up on board soulmate. Maybe something went sideways on soulmate.
I think he used the story of the flares because he knew somebody had seen them. So he had to have a reason why there was flares. But see, what Brian didn't say is that they came off soulmate. He said he shot flares in the dinghy. And then remember, there was a spent flare in the dinghy. So what the hell?
Between this volatile couple, a couple who, when they drink, things kind of go sideways. And they'd had a couple drinks, not a lot, 2 drinks each at the Abaco Inn. They had a lot of beer on board. Don't know if they were drinking it. Don't know if they had it in the cooler, maybe in the dinghy. Don't know. That wasn't found when the boat was marooned up in Marsh Harbor the next day. But maybe something happened on board soulmate. Maybe somebody grabbed that gun because the flare gets shot out of a gun. Usually, I don't know.
I've actually heard about the drug thing. Carly was asked specifically about that, and she said no, that she didn't know of any drug use, but definitely alcohol use. So if he was doing something, it doesn't sound like her daughter was aware of it. Nick, yes, they were at another bar prior to that all day. Maybe the fight started on the Soulmate. She tried to escape in the dinghy. Possibly.
I don't know what the hookers did. They were liveaboards, so typically stuff is stowed in places that you know where to find it because your whole life is in like a little tiny, a quarter the size of a trailer. I mean, really, really small quarters, right? So I would think that their safety equipment would be stowed somewhere, probably out in the cockpit. But would the flare gun have just been lying around? Would somebody have like run for it to grab it?
Right.
Was somebody shooting it at the other person? Was Brian shooting it at Lynette? Was Lynette shooting it at Brian? I mean, Brian has a history of being pretty handsy and violent and physical with family members. These are the allegations that have been made against him multiple times. Court papers, there's been a trial. He was acquitted of choking his 12-year-old daughter, but witnesses went up on the stand and swore under oath. He put his hands on my sister, the 12-year-old daughter he's got, and choked her. Lots of reports from family members of Lynette being choked out by Brian as well. Photographs she's taken of her back all bruised. She sent it to her friends contemporaneously saying, oof, my back hurts. It's where I got pinned when this episode happened. Photos taken so that she'd remind herself not to go back to him every time she left him, but she'd go back. So what happened? Why was the flare scene being shot from the boat Soulmate? I have a whole other question. Why did anybody respond to it? I mean, the Mariner's code is if you see a flare, someone's in distress. Help them.
Yeah, why didn't anybody help?
To our knowledge, nobody responded to that flare. Now, if these witnesses were on land, I get it. They can't, right? It's coming from out in the water. You can make a call, but you're in a foreign country, and it's a little tricky. But I'm just a little surprised that we haven't heard a whole lot more reports of that flare being fired. I did ask a lot of questions about the trajectory, direction of the flare, because in the videos that I've been looking at from Dean Zomzahl, from over on Lubbers, facing towards where this action would happen, I thought, well, what if the flare went off sideways and skipped along the water and was masked by the hull of the boat, right? So the boat is in the way of the light source going out in the water, and it's not going way up in the sky, because the way a flare works is a distress signal, so it's got to be up there for a little bit, right? Have you ever seen fireworks when they go off and then they come down really slowly and they're beautifully lit and they take forever to come down and they don't dim into ash until almost the ground? That's a little like a flare. Up it goes, super high, lit like mad. I mean, it is fire. It's like a little sunshine up there. Usually bright, bright red, but they can be different colors. And then it slowly, through gravity, makes its way down until it finally fizzles out. So people see those things. They're usually, I may be off here, but I think they're usually burning for about 10 seconds.
I don't know why no one responded to it. That's pretty odd. Yeah, this was from Friday. Yep.
Maybe even more. I'm just really shocked that more people haven't reported that they saw it. If you saw it and you're watching, or you know somebody who talked about having seen a flare, it was the weirdest thing. I thought fireworks were going off. They were on vacation in the Bahamas. Call them. Maybe it's you. Please send that to me. DropDeadSeriousInfo@gmail.com. DropDeadSeriousInfo@gmail.com. I am taking your tips every single day, and the videos that have been coming in have been an enormous help, like Dean Zomzahl's video and the work that Katie Callie and Julian Baringbrook, his daughters, have been doing. DropDeadSerious.
Dude, she's got so many people sending her stuff. Brian Hooker has got to be shitting his pants right about now. Right?
Smoke him if you got him.
Info@gmail.com. Did you see a flare the night before Easter Sunday in the night sky over the Sea of Abaco, in between Lubbers and Elbow Key? Call me. Tell me.
Call me.
And if you don't want to tell me, okay, I get it. Please, just at least download the app of the Coast Guard Investigative Services.
Gigi.
It's called CGIS Tips. CGIS Tips, and it's anonymous. And they would love to hear from you as well. I would love to hear from you too, but please also tell them. So that happened, right? And that's like big. It's big to know that somebody saw action coming from Soulmate at 8 o'clock at night, because that's 15 minutes after.
There's no jammer.
Poor Brian says he was rendered motorless and rudderless and had to float in his little 8-foot dinghy without any help in the dark as he went 4 miles all the way to Marsh Harbor.
Hey, Debbie.
Did you? Really? Brian, is that what happened? Because witnesses say they saw a flare being fired from your boat 15 minutes later. That's not the only thing. That's not the only thing I want to tell you about tonight. There's something else that we've found. And again, thank you to you.
Hossein says, maybe they thought it was the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny was bringing them their freaking Easter baskets.
For the tips. This has come to us again from Dean Zomzahl, and he has this amazing, first of all, amen to Dean for having video that records every single second of the day and night, nonstop, right? It's lovely for them to be able to just check out their beautiful view.
Oh, Higgins says, I wonder if anybody anchored around them saw the flare, but when they went towards it, the dinghy was gone and nobody was there, so they left it alone. Damn. Or they went over to it and they were down in the cabin and didn't come out.
You at any time they want, no matter where they are in the world. I would love that. And it's also helpful to this. So I want to tell you what happened at a couple of times, what we've witnessed on the video. And again, it's very, very grainy because it's a mile away and you're looking across the Sea of Abaco.
Okay, here we go.
We see a couple of events taking place where Soulmate is likely docked. We think, or not docked, anchored. We think that's Soulmate with a mono hull. It means it's a boat with one hull. Sometimes you see a catamaran that has a dual hull, right? It has two pontoons and then rooms and stuff in the middle. So we think that Soulmate is anchored, and a catamaran is like one boat slightly north of it.
Oh.
And we based a lot of our measurements and our analysis on those two boats and where they are in relation to Aunt Pat's Bay, because we know that
my little
Soulmate
dinky
was anchored right off of Aunt Pat's Bay. And there are homes that we can pinpoint as reference points on shore, and that's how we've measured where we think Soulmate is floating around, even when it goes jet black and dark. We've actually pinpointed the spot where Soulmate is anchored. So it would sway on the anchor when the wind moves, but it ain't going to go far, right? It's only going to swing as far as the wind sends it, and the anchor chain is long, but it's not going to move, 20 meters to the south or north. It's going to stay pretty much where it is. And hey, Brian Hooker says no one made it back to that boat, so it shouldn't move. No one was on board. It should not move. Right, Brian Hooker?
True. They never even made it back to the boat, according to him.
I think we can agree on that. So we have looked at an event at 7:47 p.m. That would be 17 minutes after Brian and Lynette supposedly left the Abaco Inn in their dinghy, untied from the dinghy dock, and made their way out.
Wait, what did she say?
At 7:47 p.m.
7:47. I thought they left the Abaco Inn at 7. Isn't that what we were told? Hey, Marcy.
That
Marcy, like you just got here. Hey.
Would be 17 minutes after Brian and Lynette supposedly left the Abaco Inn in their dinghy, untied from the dinghy dock, and made their way out White Sound Channel, turned south, and made their way towards where Soulmate was anchored in Aunt Pat's Bay. Again, that trip should take maybe 15 minutes. But 17 minutes after Brian says he left, we see something happening.
Oh, after he said he left. Right, because he lied about the time. Okay. So 17 minutes after Brian says they left, which we know is a lie because we have video of them leaving at 7. But he says they left at 7:30-ish. Okay. Hey, you two bad actors.
I have been trying to figure out what exactly it is, but it is, without question, a big flash of light. Could be a couple things. It could be a reflection of something metal on board Soulmate.
I see it.
That just
You guys
catches
see
the
it?
sun. And you know how that is? Like the sun can,
So it's right here. Can you guys see my cursor? If you look right here, you see the flash.
send signals a mile away because it's so bright. It could be something like that. But we haven't really, sensed on board. Could be a couple things. It could be a reflection of something metal.
But that is coming from their boat. That is the Soulmate.
On board Soulmate that just catches the sun. And you know how that is? Like the sun can, send signals a mile away because it's so bright. It could be something like that. But we haven't really been able to find anything on board Soulmate that fits that bill that would reflect so perfectly for so long. Because again, sailboats continuously move. And so they're not going to just get like a flashlight in your eyes and stay steady like that. They're going to catch the sun and kind of move around in the waves and they bob and they weave. And so we're not exactly sure what the 7:47 p.m. event is, other than possibly, I know that a lot of sailboats, especially liveaboards, have security. And you don't want people rolling up on you, floating up on you, when you're comfortable and sleeping in your space down below and, robbing you. It happens. They're actually modern day pirates. I mean, it is kind of weird, but they're modern day pirates. They don't wear a patch. They don't have, Blackbeard blazing braids. But this is the kind of security that a lot of liveaboards might have. Automatic lights. We all
Hey,
have them at our
Tintin.
houses, right? You trip the zone and the spotlights come on. It is not weird to have those kinds of lights on board your boat. If you're a liveaboard, if you're even a charter, or if you just, every so often use a sailboat and you
Hey,
sleep on
Berkey.
it in a mooring where there are other people, or an anchorage where there are other people. You're a target, just like any home, right? So sometimes the trigger zone will be 10 feet from the boat, maybe 15, but you got to be pretty close to the boat for the spotlights to go on, usually over the transom, because that's typically where people would board, but it can be over the bow as well. Transom's back, bow is front. And so that's something we're wondering about 747 at night. Is that what we're seeing? Are we seeing the trigger of stern spotlights? Because the stern is facing the camera's view that we're looking at, because the wind is blowing straight to Dean Zomzel's house, which is another point. If you really had this event where your wife bounced off the back of your dinghy and took the key and took her dry bag with the other key and left you.
You can really see it there. I think she fired it too.
Your wife bounced off the back of your dinghy and
Look
took
at
the key and took her dry bag with the other key and left you without any way of maneuvering as a former United States Marine. Okay. You would have blown right into Dean's house on Lubbers. You would not have cleared the north end of Lubbers and made it all the way 4 miles to Marsh Harbor, where you washed up at 4 a.m., so to speak. The wind pattern shows with Dean's cameras that ass ends of all those boats are pointing right to his dock, which means the wind was going over the bows or over the dual hulls of the catamarans and pushing their sterns to be facing right to Dean's. That was where the wind was, southwest, not northwest, which would have helped clear past Lubbers. If the wind was going northwest, you'd have gone straight past Lubbers, but the wind was sort of a little more southwest, right? Coming from the east. So there's another inconsistency. Science. So this light event at 7:47 p.m., I am really interested in that. What was going on there? What was happening? Because, 13 minutes later, someone saw a flare go off. And I got to be real careful about the 8 p.m. thing, because it could have been anywhere around 8. Where, when you're on a boat, you might have a few, you might be checking things out in the sunset, and time isn't always the most important thing, but sometime around 8 p.m. is when the witnesses said the flare went off. So 15 minutes-ish, give or take. Suddenly,
we're going to do
there's
a
this
poll.
light event on board, and then 15 minutes-ish later, a flare goes off from Soulmate. So there's 2 events that appear to happen on Soulmate. Well after, Brian's supposed to be floating to Lubbers and Marsh Harbor by now. No one's supposed to be on board Soulmate. Just look up in the rigging of Soulmate. I've asked for advice from mariners way smarter than I am. I'm not a liveaboard. I don't live a lifestyle of sailing. I have sailed. I have captained a keel boat, but liveaboard is a different thing. You got a lot different gear. You live on board, so you need a lot more gear. And the assessment and evaluation of the rigging that is on the back of Soulmate is that these are spotlights. They're kind of like tripwire spotlights. There's the way it's described as the black box.
So we have the solar flares, or the solar panels. Are they on both sides or just one side? Happy Monday, White Lotus. Welcome in, everybody. Please hit the like button. It just takes 1 second. Just hit that thumbs up. It really helps a lot.
Box-looking thing is almost like a studio light. And then there are full-size incandescent lights in the back of Soulmate as well that would kind of like flash bright out the back over the transom for anybody who approaches, right? Kind of blinds you a bit, but it's also lights everything up so you can see your way and get on board. But it also, lights up bad guys who might be coming up too. So the way it's been described to me, this light event at 7:47 p.m. that looks to be coming from Soulmate across the way, about a mile away, it kind of like the light goes on and then it kind of dims a little bit and then goes on again. And that is consistent with someone coming up to the boat, triggering it, then getting on board and maybe masking it a little bit until you can get to the switch and shut it off, which can be done. It triggers automatically, but you can also
Okay, so to answer your question, Vogue said, is it legal to just abandon your yacht in the Bahamas? Will they tow the Soulmate? They rent those mooring balls or whatever they call them. Hi, Sarah Lee. Good to see you. Nobody does it like Sarah Lee. But yeah, they rent those. So I don't know how long they rented it for, because they were already there, 9 weeks or something like that? Hey, Eve. Good to see you.
shut it off, depending on how this thing has been rigged. But everybody's told me that Brian Hooker is a geek. He is real tech savvy.
Jammer.
He can port a phone, and yet he tells people, I don't know how to get WhatsApp on my phone. Please. He was a telephone repairman, and yet he tells people, I don't know how to get WhatsApp on my phone. Please. He was a telephone repairman and installer for AT&T. He's got a lot of technical savvy. He was released from AT&T for jury-rigging the GPS on his van to mask his location. So he's got savvy when it comes to tech. And maybe he rigged this whole lighting setup to trigger for safety, but also to light it up if you're coming back to your boat in the dark and you want to be able to see. But this could be what we're witnessing, this light event at 7:47 p.m. across from Lubbers, the camera catching. But there's more. There are more light events. And in case you're wondering how I know that he was released from AT&T, which might be a euphemism for being fired, I've spoken to a number of his former colleagues, people who were there and witnessed it, because he was the union steward. So they know. Not only that, there's court documents. So it happened. But the 7:47 p.m. light event on board Soulmate is not the only light event that we are seeing from Dean Zomzal's camera on Lubbers, facing towards Soulmate's transom. So Lindsay is so smart. And you know what she did? She took the video that continues recording until it is dark. Okay.
Go, Lindsay.
And she put a little pink dot.
Shout out to Miss Lindsay. She put a little pink dot. You think he took her out to the Atlantic, Jen? I know, Crystal, like that's the only place that's been ruled out is that bay, right? The Sea of Abaco. We know she's not in there. So she's either been put in the Atlantic or she's on land somewhere.
Where Soulmate is, so that when it gets dark, we know Soulmate is in the vicinity of this pink dot, because it'll swing in the wind a little, but it's going to basically be above the pink dot, so that in the nighttime we could watch the position of Soulmate to see if anything else happened. And wouldn't you know it? By the way, hat tip to Lindsay for staring at a screen for what's this, like 5 hours straight.
Dude,
and also
for real.
hat tip to Katie Kelly and Julianne Berrienbrook.
Shout out to Lindsay. Let's give her some turkeys. She's probably not here. She's probably working hard right now. She just released a new episode today. She's like, fuck. We love us, our Lindsay. Hat tip.
Dean Zomzal's daughters for doing that too, because they caught something. They caught another light event. 2 of them, actually. So let's go to the video. And I want you to fix your eyes on the pink dot, because Lindsay was smart. And in the daylight video, she marked the spot where Soulmate was on its anchor, what we believe to be Soulmate, based on all of the measurements we did from land, where they were anchored in relation to Aunt Pat's Bay and in relation to the catamaran beside them. We marked that spot. Okay. Is it absolute? I can't say it's absolute, but it is our best estimation from this camera angle. So the pink dot, we nail it onto the screen at 7:47 when we can see boats in the light time, and we can make our estimation of, we think that might be Soulmate, and so we mark that spot with the pink dot. But the videos at 12:27 a.m. are very dark, but the pink dot's still there. So above it would be where Soulmate is supposed to be anchored. That's our estimation. And as we play this, I want you to watch very carefully what's coming in from the left-hand side of the pink dot, because it appears that a flashlight is kind of swinging around, looking like swinging around, and then what? The light on board, what we think is Soulmate, goes on. The automated light? Don't know, but the flashlight really fires right into Dean's camera and then kind of stays lit. And Soulmate's light, if it's Soulmate, stays lit. That triggered spotlight on the back riggings.
Wow.
So now we've got, perhaps the rigging light and the lower light being maybe a dinghy light. And what you're going to see is the Soulmate light. It might actually go off in a moment. Just watch. And is that because someone from the dinghy got up on board and then shut it off? Because it goes off, but the dinghy light stays on.
Yikes.
What is fascinating is as you continue to watch this, the dinghy light's going to go off soon. If, again, this is the dinghy and Soulmate.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see it better. Because it's really small. Let's go like this. How's that? Now you guys can see it a lot better.
But just so you know, all those other lights everywhere, those are other boats, and they're also lights on land that are high up. Those are lights on Elbow Key. But again, you see the dinghy light.
Okay, so these are lights on Elbow Key, right? Up here.
Go off right around the pink dot, which is where we marked soulmate. Is it soulmate? And if it is, what the actual fuck is going on?
There it is. There's the soundbite that Hex sent me last night.
Is it soulmate? And if it is, what the actual fuck is going on with these lights? And a dinghy, potentially, or a smaller boat with a flashlight coming up next to it, triggering potentially the automated spotlights, security lights. What's going on there at 12:27 a.m.? Another piece of the puzzle.
12:27 a.m.? Ugh. So many lights in these cases. I know, right?
And again, I can only tell you what we can see from a very grainy video from a mile away, but this captured lights. It captured light activity in exactly the spot where soulmate was floating without anybody on it, supposedly.
30.
On anchor. 12:27 a.m.
So 12:30 a.m. is 3 hours after the flare went off, right? Am I understanding this correctly? I hope I am. The flare went off at 9, and then this flashlight and the dinghy light was seen at 12:30. And then Brian is going to be found on the shore of Marsh Harbor at the boathouse thing, or the whatever, boat works, at like 4 a.m. So like 3.5 hours from now, he's going to wash up on Marsh Harbor.
But that's not all.
Oh,
there was
shit.
another light event
Oh, my
on
God.
board what we believe to be soulmate, or at least what's floating in the vicinity of soulmate, which we think is soulmate, when the light went dark and we tagged it with a pink dot. Okay, now let's go to the next light event. And this is at 12:32 a.m. So this is 5 minutes after the last event that we saw in the
Oh my God. So we have another one. So we have one at 12:27. I'm going to make this bigger so we can see it. 12:27 and now one at 12:32.
darkness. So
Dude,
12
she's going to crack this fucking case wide open. Hooker, you are in so much trouble. Turn yourself in, Hooker, because this coming. Tick-tock.
These nuts.
12:32 a.m. And I will give the caveat again. You got to look at the pink dot, and this is marked exactly as we left it, where we think soulmate is anchored. And so when it gets dark, it's above the pink dot, if that is in fact soulmate. So when I play this next tape for you, at 0 seconds, watch the left-hand side again of the pink dot. And at 3 seconds, all of a sudden, there's 5 flashes of what I think might be a flashlight moving around in a lower boat. But at around 5 seconds, the big light on the back of the boat again illuminates. If it is the trigger light that we think
Here,
it might
let's
be.
watch it again.
And at 3 seconds, all of a sudden, there's 5 flashes of what
See
I
that?
think might be a flashlight moving around in a lower boat. But at around 5 seconds, the big light on the back of the boat again illuminates. If it is the trigger light that we think it might be, it's triggered again and it's on. But that flashlight that seems to be moving around, and you saw it going like 6 times, it was on and off. But if I have you, if I hold the flashlight towards you and then I move it like that, you're not going to see it. Then you're going to see it. Then you're not going to see it. So if the flashlight's moving around,
Yes.
this camera may not see the flashlight, but might see it as a flash, 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 flash.
That is crazy. Good work, ladies. Hello, Miss Lindsay Hendricks. Good work, ladies. Let's watch that one more time. This is the soulmate right above the little pink dot, and you're going to see the flashlight moving around. Watch.
Left-hand side again of the pink dot. And at 3 seconds, all of a sudden, there's 5 flashes of what I think might be a flashlight moving around in a lower boat. But at around 5 seconds, the big light on the back of the boat again illuminates. If it is the trigger light that we think it might be, it's triggered again and it's on. But that flashlight that seems to be moving around, and you saw it going like 6 times, it was on and off. But if I have you, if I hold the flashlight towards you and then I move it like that, you're not going to see it. Then you're going to see it. Then you're not going to see it. So if the flashlight's moving around, this camera may not see the flashlight, but might see it as a flash, 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 flash 5 times. But this solid light stays on until about 53 seconds. Watch it as it goes off. What's interesting about that is that if you've ever had a security system, you know that you can set any kind of custom setup with your lighting, right? There's a trigger, somebody trips the motion sensor and the lights come on, the floodlights come on in your yard, and then you can tailor it to however long you want those floodlights to stay on. Like some people are like, well, it's going to take me a while to get my bathrobe on, get my gun, and go downstairs. I want those on for 5 minutes, or I want those on for 1 minute, or I want them on for 20 minutes, or I want them on for 50 seconds. You can tailor a lot of that stuff. I don't know if that's what we're seeing here, but that big light stayed on until about 53 seconds, and then off it went. So the flashlight had only flashed about 5 times, if that's what that is, right up next to Soulmate. Then the trigger light on the back of the stern there, that seemed to be on, again, if it's Soulmate, for up until 53 seconds, and all that happened at 12:32 a.m. And again, all we can say is that we are looking into a dark abyss, but we have marked where we believe Soulmate was swinging on its anchor with no one on it. Nobody's supposed to be on it, because remember, at 12:32 a.m. and at 12:27 a.m., Brian's supposed to have been floating for 4 hours now. He's been at sea without any kind of rudder or power in a little tiny 8-foot bathtub. He's been blowing in the Andrea Gale storm for 4 hours, right? 8 o'clock was when it got dark. Sun went down at 8 o'clock, and this is now 4.5 hours. So he's nowhere near Soulmate. If his story's true, nobody is.
Exactly. He should have been floating and trying to paddle and going around lubbers and all that shit. What's up, Lori Smith? Brian will say, not me, prove it. Must have been pirates.
To be. So what is going on? What are these light events? Another piece of the puzzle. Just another piece of the puzzle. But you know what? Those light events take power. And I know they had a solar system. Like they had solar panels, along their...
oh, yeah. There's that sexy man, Brian Hooker. Ugh.
These nuts.
Yeah, he was blowing around in an angry storm that only he experienced.
The sides of their boat. And I don't know if those recorded anything. It's possible. Maybe. I don't know. But again, piece of the puzzle.
I can't stand this clip right here.
If those...
Watch how he looks at her. He looks at her like, did I do good, Mom?
Recorded anything. Look. It's possible.
Oh, did I do good, Mom? God. Have another drink, Hooker. Look what I did, Mom.
Well, maybe. I don't know. But again, piece of the puzzle. Think all those natural products you're buying. Code 12:27 a.m. and 12:32 a.m. And again, huge props to Dean Zomzal's daughters, Katie, Callie, and Julianne Barry and Brooke, because they helped Lindsay and me immensely to zero down on these events and the locations of what we're seeing relative to the land and the reference points on land, so that we can measure where Soulmate is according to the reference points, because we've seen Soulmate at anchor in...
So this is the footage they got from that guy's security footage. And the boats are over here, I believe.
Measure where Soulmate is according to the reference points, because we've seen Soulmate at anchor in Aunt Pat's Bay. We know where the anchor was thrown.
Diapers.
And it was never supposed to have moved, because they never were supposed to have made it back to Soulmate.
Look how beautiful that water is, though, you guys. Can we just admire how beautiful it is there? My God. This is the issue, like? I like her calling it out. Oh, when Jen Fisher mentioned the pill bottle and partying, all I thought was they were little blue pills. Ew, Steph, you're probably right. Ugh.
So I'm just going on Brian's story here. Anyway, my great thanks to Dean and to Katie and Julianne for helping us. And one thing I just want to point out, that when you are on a sailboat or a motor yacht, I've done this a lot, and you tend to kind of go to bed a little earlier, unless you're like a wild partier. But generally speaking, certainly liveaboards tend to get up with the light, go to sleep a little bit with the light. So going to bed at like 9 or 10 is kind of normal, because everything is done by like smaller lights, especially on these smaller 46-foot catch sailboats. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of a drag being outside on your deck. It's not always like lit up like your house is. So it's better to be living in the natural light than trying to just find your way around your deck in the dark and stuff. So generally speaking, it wouldn't be weird for a lot of these people in the anchorage to be going to bed well before 12:30 at night. And then the other thing you wouldn't think is weird is seeing someone with flashlights, because we use them all the time. If you're on deck, you're going to have a flashlight. You may not turn all the riggings on or put on, if you even have any, you would use a flashlight. So anybody who's anchored or who's a sailor would not think anything if they see little flashlights going on other boats, certainly late at night. It might mean, oh, somebody might be dragging an anchor and they're checking on it. Or, oh, somebody might hear a rigging banging, ding, ting, ting, ting in the wind and they want to fasten it down so it's not.
So it's not going to be a red flag if someone's on their boat with a flashlight. Ting, 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 ting.
Oh, somebody might hear a rigging banging, ding, ting, ting, ting in the wind.
It reminds me of this.
Pound, 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 ding dong, pound, pound, pound.
Dragging an anchor and they're checking on it. Or, oh, somebody might hear a rigging banging, ding, ting, ting, ting in the wind and they want to fasten it down so it's not annoying all night. There's little things, shit things that go on for sailors all the time. And so anybody else would think a flashlight on board someone else's boat, they're just fixing some pain in the ass thing that's like a dime a dozen when you're on board. So again, nobody would even think twice about a flashlight or have it, lodged in their memory that they saw a flashlight on a boat at 12:30. It just wouldn't be weird. I am going to theorize.
So what they had, Crystal, was a 360 camera, and you can hold on to it, and it makes it look like you're not holding on to anything, and it goes literally 360, and they can put it in the water and everything. So when you see Lynette sitting on the boat in that footage, and it looks like she's holding like a kite, she's literally holding her 360 camera, but it removes the thing you're holding, I guess.
Theorize something for a minute, and this is just a theory I am trying to game out. If you had to get rid of a body, not saying anybody had to, not even alleging that Brian did, but let's just say if you had to get rid of a body and you were in Aunt Pat's Bay, how would you do it? What's close by? What might be an easy, quick way to do that? And I actually have, on the advice of those who know this area better than I have a map that I'm going to show you that could be a quick and easy way to get rid of a body if, say, some guy needed to do so. And again, I am not saying.
Okay, so we're doing maps. This one's almost done, then we've got another one.
That Brian Hooker needed to get rid of a body because he hasn't been charged with anything yet. But if you wanted to try to figure out where Lynette's body is, because she's not in the Sea of Abaco, and it is a big old swimming pool, and everyone who knows the patterns of the winds, the waves, the tides, the experts, everyone who has looked at this said, based on his story, she would have ended up in the Sea of Abaco on a shore or on the bottom. And like I said, it's a giant swimming pool. They flew grid patterns over it, drones, flights,
everything,
sonar, the whole 9 yards. She ain't in there, and she's not on the shorelines, right? So where is she? Not saying that Brian did this, but if someone needed to get rid of a body, and if they might be anchored in the area where Soulmate was anchored, there are some scenarios that I can game out with the expert help of others who know this area better than I do. And so for that reason, I want to show you sort of a moving map with markings that might take you easily to a place where you could hide a body. If, say, a guy, not saying Brian, but a guy wanted to hide a body. So this is Aunt Pat's Bay, where he was anchored right in the middle of that crisscross right here. And if you zoom out from this image, right?
Okay, so right here is where they're docked.
We go all the way up here towards the Hopetown Lighthouse, and we can see a little channel that comes down right around in here. You're going to see it marked in pink areas, and he could come down that channel if this was what he was planning to do. This is only 2.9 nautical miles, which is 3.3 regular miles. So let's go in here. What is this? You can see through satellite imagery. There's these little waterways back in here underneath the mangroves, and it is easy for a dinghy to tuck into these. Absolutely no reason for any tourists to go into this yucky, swampy area. No.
This is crazy. So the Lighthouse Marina is right there. And these are mangroves, and little dinghies can go in there, you guys.
No reason for the locals to go in there. Nope. And there's enough waterway access that, someone could say, she just float in there with the tide, stand up in there. That's not the point, though. The theory here is that you'd need the maximum time for physical evidence to break down in these mangroves, right? Because the roots underneath the water, it is real easy to tuck somebody into those roots and even tie them off without even using any weights, right? Or any evidence that you leave behind that showed that this might be an intentional act. Even though the lighthouse is kind of frequented, this area, this is a pretty uninhabited area right here.
That's really freaking sick. He looks like he smells of fish and dirt, says Crystal. I agree. Millie Mills, we're so glad you're here. You have a time lapse of that Hopetown Harbor channel. No shit. Nick is still on the construction. Yeah, I can't let that go either.
So I think if you have spent some time around a mangrove swamp, y'all, they stink. And I think the
We have
smell of a
them here.
mangrove swamp is going to cover up a lot of smell. The route itself, if you wanted to go all the way into this mangrove area, is 2.8 miles. Okay. Fully within dinghy range. And you know what? It's easy to get in here. You can slip in here in the dark. Really easy.
I want to see where that
And you know
is.
what?
Hold on.
Miles. Okay.
Where is the Abaco Inn? Oh, shit. It's right here. Okay, so the Abaco Inn where they were is right here. That mangrove she's talking about is up here. Abaco Inn, mangrove.
Fully within dinghy range. And you know what? It's easy to get in here. You can slip in here in the dark. Really easy. And honestly, there are not many people who are going to notice a dinghy in the dark going into these areas. You can tuck all the way back in here. All the way back. Look how far. I mean, the truth is, if you're a U.S. Marine and you've got some training, even just basic training, this might be a good idea if you needed to hide a body. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for being with me throughout this episode. Don't forget, dropdeadseriousinfo@gmail.com if you have any video, if you have any information.
Spa, are you okay? Are you all right? Spa La Land? You doing okay?
If you know friends who were there.
Let's go back and see if we
You
can
know-
see Aunt Pat's. Hold on.
Y'all, enough here under. Let's go in here. That's what he was planning to do. In here, you're going to see it marked in pink areas. A little channel. We go all the way up here towards.
Okay, so again, this is Aunt Pat's Bay where my pointer is. And this, see this right here? This, like, cross. That's Aunt Pat's Bay right there. That's where their boat was. The mangrove is, you can't see it on this map.
And if you zoom out from this image, right, we go all the way up here towards the Hopetown.
Okay, so again, they're down here, right? Where this dot is. And then you see the Abaco Inn right here. Right? So this mangrove is going to be up here. So boat, Abaco, mangrove.
Lighthouse. And we can see a little channel that comes down right around in here. You're going to see it marked in pink areas. And he could come down that channel if this was what he was planning to do. This is only 2.9 nautical miles, which is 3.3 regular miles. So let's go in here. What is this? You can see through satellite imagery. There's these little waterways back in here underneath the mangroves. And it is easy for a dinghy to tuck into these. Absolutely no reason for any tourists to go into this yucky, swampy area. No reason for the locals to go in there. Nope. And there's enough waterway access that, you know, someone could say, she just flowed in there with the tide, stand up in there. That's not the point, though. The theory here is that you'd need the maximum.
Nice picture, Spa. Where is that taken at? That's a really, really, really pretty picture. You're going to miss me. I'm going to be live, Crystal. You'll still see me.
Time for physical evidence to break down in these mangroves, right? Because the roots underneath the water, it is real easy to tuck somebody into those roots and even tie them off without even using any weights, right? Or any evidence that you leave behind that show that this might be an intentional act. Even though the lighthouse is kind of frequented, this area, this is a pretty uninhabited area right here. So I think if you have spent some time around a mangrove swamp, y'all, they stink. And I think the smell of a mangrove swamp is going to cover up a lot of smell. The route itself, if you want to.
It's really pretty, Fort Lauderdale. South Florida's the place to be, baby.
To go all the way into this mangrove area is 2.8 miles. Okay. Fully within dinghy range. And you know what? It's easy to get in here. You can slip in here in the dark. Really easy. And honestly, there are not many people who are going to notice a dinghy in the dark going into these areas. You can tuck all the way back in here. All the way back. Look how far. I mean, the truth is, if you're a U.S. Marine and you got some training, even just basic training, this might be a good idea if you needed to hide a body. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for being with me throughout this episode. Don't forget, dropdeadseriousinfo gmail.com if you have any.
Okay, let's move to the next one. This one came out today.
Hey, everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, no,
It's
I'm
great-
sorry. No, it didn't. This one is 3 days ago. Did we? Wait, hold on. Now I'm confused. A dinghy in the dark. Don't forget he's a scuba diver, too. You know, that's another thing no one has talked about lately is the fact that they filled up those scuba tanks. Did they find them? Okay, yeah, this is the new one right here. An hour ago. Today. Let's do it today. You guys ready?
Here, it's great to have you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
That was weird. It said 3 weeks ago, but now it says 1 hour ago. Okay.
And many thanks if you already have. Thanks if you're a member, too. Very appreciated. I've got some other stuff I need to share with you. If you are just joining us, we have been talking for weeks, in fact, more than 4 weeks, about the disappearance of Lynette Hooker. Her husband, Brian Hooker, swears up and down they were just on their dinghy leaving the landmark Abaco Inn in the Bahamas where they just had drinks and were heading out to their sailboat where they've been living for 4 years. Live aboard on their sailboat when she just bounced right off the back of that dinghy and he just couldn't save her. Couldn't go. She was separated by the wind and the waves and that, you know, go back in our episodes in the playlist because the story is preposterous. And we have been proving all the way along with not only evidence, facts, witnesses, reports, marine experts, that pretty much everything Brian Hooker has said about this catastrophic disaster where his wife bounced off the back of the dinghy and he just couldn't save her and he floated all night long and ended up at Marsh Harbor 4 miles away. We've pretty much been able to disprove a lot of that story. And it has taken weeks and a lot of research and a lot of work and a lot of interviews. So back over the playlist and you'll get right up to speed. If you are already up to speed, good for you. And I got something for you. I discovered some things in Lynette Hooker.
She said, I discovered some things.
Her social media that for days and days I've been trying to track down where these things happened and some locations. And I want to show you a video that Lynette posted. And I can tell you why I know where this video is now and why I think it's significant. Because in a prior episode, I talked to you about if something happened to Lynette, not the way Brian explains it, but maybe something else, maybe even aboard Soulmate, their 46-foot ketch, their sailboat that they lived on. If something happened to her, and let's just say she was killed on board Soulmate, and let's just say somebody needed to get rid of the body. I am not suggesting that Brian Hooker did this. I am only trying to figure out where is Lynette. Because the way Brian explained it, her body would have turned up in the Sea of Abaco, because it's like a bathtub, or on the shores, or some detritus of her would have. And so if that's not what happened, then what did? And one of my prior episodes gave you an idea of where you could, if one, say, wanted to get rid of a body, could get rid of a body up near Hopetown and the harbor that's sort of on the northern end of Elbow Key. They were anchored off of Elbow Key, and that wouldn't be very hard, just a couple miles up. But we've also discovered another possibility where if someone wanted to get rid of a body and then, say, launch themselves up on Marsh Harbor saying that they had floated for 9 hours with no keys and no oars and all the rest, we found another possibility. And back in Lynette Hooker's social media, she shows an excursion one day that she took with her husband, Brian Hooker, but also her daughter, Carly Aylesworth. And we put the pieces together because we saw originally this photograph of Carly and her mom, Lynette, and Lynette's husband, Brian Hooker. And they've got sort of like some wrecked out docks behind them. Doesn't look like a very nice place. It kind of looks like an abandoned, old, wretched sort of marina that no one is taking care of. And we've been trying to figure out what is in the backdrop of that picture. And I think we may put the pieces together with the help of Lynette. Thank you, Lynette. In our effort to find where Lynette may have ended up, because I don't believe Brian's story, that picture of Carly, Lynette, and Steve now accompanies a video that Lynette herself took. And
oh, wow. It's really sad seeing Lynette. But look at him. My name's Brian Hooker. Oh, he makes me just ill. What is up, Franny? Welcome in, welcome in. If you guys are just joining, hit that like button. I know, she looks really happy. She probably was so happy having Carly there.
Steve now accompanies a video that Lynette herself took. And I want you to sort of play along with me here as we look at Lynette's video. She's got one of those 360 cams where she's holding the selfie stick, but the selfie stick disappears because it's awesome technology. And wouldn't you know it, her video actually shows this sort of abandoned, awful marina. And there's a little sign there. I'll get to that in a minute because it tells you what the name of the marina is. You can see the docks are all busted up and broken. It looks like it's a century old. You know, the pathway looks nasty and the buildings are all broken down and all the rest. Well, there's a really good reason why the videos that Lynette is taking show such an awful place. It is the result of Hurricane Dorian. And if you remember Hurricane Dorian from 2019, it was a monster. I covered Hurricane Dorian. I was freaking out about Hurricane Dorian because my brother lives in the Bahamas and I thought he was going to die. He's in Nassau, right? He's close to Nassau on the island of New Providence, whereas most people go, you know, to Paradise Island. They go to Atlantis and all the rest. That's all on New Providence. And Dorian kind of like spared them. It was a nasty storm, but it didn't destroy them, right? But it did destroy the islands and the Keys all like 100 miles north. And the Abacos just got hammered by Dorian. And the Abacos are where we've been discussing the story of Lynette Hooker. It's Lynette's story. It's not Brian's story. It's Lynette's story. And the Abacos...
Preach. This is Lynette's story, Brian. You hear that?
Including Elbow Key and Marsh Harbor. Those are the places, eastern and central Grand Bahama too. Those are the places that got just hammered by Hurricane Dorian and like almost wiped off the map, right? It was terrible. It was 2019. Like I said, this was one of the most powerful Atlantic hurricanes on record. And it was the strongest hurricane to ever hit the Bahamas. As a Cat 5, it was 185 mile an hour winds, gusts of 220 miles an hour, and the storm surge was 23 feet high. So yeah, these little keys, they just barely stand a chance. And so what Lynette is showing us is what happened to this beautiful place when Hurricane Dorian came ashore. This is Snapper Point Marina. We have been able to figure it out because in one of Lynette's photos, she actually snaps the sign for the marina. And so we are able to see the felled sign, Snapper Point Marina, and you can see some of the other things in their pictures. I'm going to show you a picture right now where it's kind of a gray sky. It's not a very nice day to be out and about, but they decided to be out and
Look at this idiot. Why is he always like that? Like, dude. Ugh. I could see him meeting people, like partying in the water. Remember when he said they were docked by that, like, floating bar or whatever? The barge. Anyways, I could just see him being like, remember when he talked to Blaine and he was like, you know, these people, they think me and Lynette are awesome. I could see him saying, you know, we're awesome. We live this authentic life. We live this authentic life. People think we're just awesome. And that he's really fucking annoying. Because remember those other guys told Ashley and Lindsay, oh my God, we saw him and what a dick.
I'm going to show you a picture right now where it's kind of a gray sky. It's not a very nice day to be out and about, but they decided to be out and about. And there's a picture where Brian is seen posing on one of the rocky outcroppings in front of one of the beaches there with his arms spread wide and his patterned shorts and what looks like reef walker shoes.
Oh, God, what a goon. What a goon. They had to zoom in on it. I know he's so full of himself. We're fucking awesome. I'm fucking awesome.
You can walk in water and not hurt your feet on coral or anything else that might be rough, like those rough rocks. So there's Brian out in front of the wrecked out Snapper Point Marina.
Directly off.
And by the way, Snapper Point Marina wasn't just a marina. It was like a high-end place. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It had places for like yachts that were up to, or fishing boats that were up to 90 feet to dock, protected little marinas for a number of different boats to dock, beautiful little guest houses and decks and a gorgeous pool. And I want to show you the pool because in Lynette's pictures, you can see the pool.
Look how sad that is, you guys. That's what it used to look like before the hurricane. His titty tans, I know. Ew. They're like a little shield.
The pool, because in Lynette's pictures, you can see the pool is just totally abandoned and wrecked out as though it's many, many years old. But the reality is, once upon a time, it was gorgeous. was just stunning. You look at these like side by side. And oh my God, this place just got so wrecked and obviously was just left this way. You can see inside, like the damage from one of the buildings inside. And I'm sure at one point this was such a lovely place, but now it just looks like an old place from like the 1950s that just fell into disrepair. Not so. It got beaten into submission by Hurricane Dorian. And so anyway, I was so interested in the fact that they had visited this place and the pictures that resulted. The pool picture bothered me the most because I thought, oh God, it's got a lovely view. Maybe one day. And look, you see the hurricane even like took off the tiles of the side of the pool, like the decorative tiles. I was fascinated because they're sightseers and they're going into really like off the beaten path places. And they're doing so.
Happy Monday, Galen. Good to see you.
Usually on a paddleboard. Or maybe they're dinghy because you can get into shore. And if you look at some of these pictures, you can see that there are beaches like the one behind Brian where he's standing there with his arms way out. I think he's holding a water bottle or something. Maybe a beer. I think he's holding a beer.
Yeah,
but there are
gotta
beaches.
Be a beer.
And beaches are great for coming ashore. Real safe. Especially if you're in a dinghy. You can come up on a beach and you can pretty much almost get up on the beach without hitting your engine 6 inches of water. I think that engine might take maybe that. And so I was sort of fascinated wondering, what are all the places that Brian and Lynette knew from doing these cool exploration excursions, especially with Lynette's daughter?
That's a really, really good point. They like to explore. And he knew all about, like Nick keeps saying, that Matlow's Key. But like she said, what other areas does he know about? Right?
Carly, and this Snapper Point Marina came up. And so when I did a deep dive, I want to show you, but before I show you the location of Snapper Point Marina, because this is going to all come full circle. It's all going to make sense in a minute. I do want to show you how beautiful Snapper Point Marina was just in 2019. I mean, the photos are just kind of like, they're stunning. And it's like super duper sad that this place fell into the disrepair at the hands of the violence of Dorian. But once upon a time,
beautiful.
I mean, there was like a lovely protected waterway and beautiful palm trees. You can see the aerial view of the buildings, gorgeous. The beach, stunning. White sand beach, just gorgeous for swimming, right? Wow. And then also decks overlooking the Sea of Abaco and nice protected like places you could sit under if you were a guest there.
And like nobody's there now. Completely abandoned, right?
You can see the lovely walkways that lead up to what I guess was a blue, I don't know, like center of this whole resort. Maybe it was like the check-in or the dining room or all of that. But this walkway, this pathway seems to be the same pathway that Lynette was able to show us that had been destroyed. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting to see the juxtaposition of Lynette's pictures and then the actual walkway when once upon a time it was super deluxe, right? Like Lynette is walking up that stone-walled pathway and you can see where it kind of bows out a little bit in the beauty shots. And then you can see in Lynette's video, it's just desecrated and
look at that. That hurricane took that entire house out. Holy shit. That is super sad, dude. What a beautiful place. Why do people just not come back? Do they not have insurance? Like, what the fuck?
Right? Like Lynette is walking up that stone-walled pathway and you can see where it kind of bows out a little bit in the beauty shots. And then you can see in Lynette's video, it's just desecrated and a mess. And it's the same bowed out walkway. And she's walking up to that once upon a time beautiful blue building that I can only imagine was that lovely dining room overlooking maybe the Sea of Abaco. And it's just a trashed mess, you know, in Lynette's video. There's also like really nice places for them to sit outside in like a hammock and relax and see the beauty of the Sea of Abaco. The beach shots are just spectacular. I want to go to this place, but now I know that it's wrecked because Lynette showed us. I'm getting to why this matters. I know we're all looking for ways to make a little extra cash this spring, so...
Okay. Yeah, I don't know either. I would say most don't. It's probably really expensive. It just makes me wonder, like, how people, you know, they just leave things abandoned, I guess. Insurance is probably outrageous. Lindsay said there's like 94 people still missing from that storm. Probably can't rebuild because no one will insure them. That's crazy.
Point Marina is no more. And Lynette and Brian and Carly do this day excursion and videotape and take photos of all of this. But it's the location of where Snapper Point Marina is and still is that really tweaked my interest.
Where is it?
As to why it might matter in the disappearance of Lynette Hooker. Let me explain. For this, I'm going to need you to go to a map. So if you look at this map of Marsh Harbor, and way over right, you can see Elbow Key, right? That's the big sea of Abaco in between. You know, you can see
Right
Marsh
there.
Harbor, you can see Mermaid Reef, Snappa's Bar and Grill, Jake's Bistro, Ice Cream Parlor, and then way off to the right, you can see Elbow Key and Hopetown way up north and the Abaco Inn, you know, midway down, and then Tahiti Beach at the bottom, right? Sea of Abaco is right there in the middle, very shallow.
Right here.
It's 4 miles apart. Okay. You can even see Lubber's Quarters. That's that little massive land just to the left of Elbow Key. But let's go back to Marsh Harbor, right? Because Marsh Harbor is where Brian, if you believe his story, washed up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 miles away from where they had been at the Abaco Inn having drinks when Lynette bounced off the dinghy. And the wind and the waves and the tide, the sea was angry, my friend. Seinfeld. So let's go over to Marsh Harbor.
Okay.
If you go to the very northern part where Lindsay was kind enough to drop a little red pin at Mermaid Reef, right there at the top,
Right here.
that is where Snappa Point Marina is / was.
Shit.
Whatever's left of it. The mess that they were touring is right there where Mermaid Reef is and that little red pin is. Why does that matter? Because if you're to curve down and to the right in that inlet where you see Snappa's Bar and Grill, Snappa's Bar and Grill is at the very far right-hand side of that inlet. That inlet is Marsh Harbor. That is where the Conch Inn is, right beside Snappa's Bar and Grill. That is where the mooring balls are.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay. So the Conch Inn, we learned a couple episodes ago that Brian Hooker, Monday and Tuesday, I believe, while he was waiting for his sister to arrive, was hanging out on the porch at the Conch Inn. And I don't know if we know what he was doing, but remember we saw the footage of him laying on the freaking lounge chair, spread eagle, not being a very good cooter. He had his legs spread, and he was laying in that lounge chair, and Lynette was taking a video. That's the Conch Inn. So he was freaking hanging out there for 2 days. Listen to this part again.
Snappa's Bar and Grill is at the very far right-hand side of that inlet. That inlet is Marsh Harbor. That is where the Conch Inn is, right beside Snappa's Bar and Grill. That is where the mooring balls are. That is where Brian and Lynette were hooked up to a mooring ball that they rented so that they could use the facilities of the Conch Inn regularly. The pool, the restaurant.
And you know what I think? You know how, like, people dispose of bodies? Like, we hear about these crimes. And sometimes they stay close or they put the body close because they want to know, like, what's going on. Hey, Purple. Hey, Julie. Martino's in the house. But he was hanging out right there for 2 days. Why?
You know, all that. The bar. So that inlet there, that's Marsh Harbor. That's their anchorage. That's where Soulmate is. That's their home base. They go out on excursions to Elbow Key and all over the place, but that's where home base is because they've got that mooring ball. And again, if you're new to sailing, a mooring ball is a permanent anchor. The anchor's down and it's set on the bottom, and then up on the top, there's a floating ball that you can just hook onto. It's almost like tying up a boat. Good. You're anchored. You don't have to do any work. You can just hook onto it and be safe for the night and then unhook and go off sailing. You don't have to set your anchor back up, bring it. Oh, it's a pain in the ass, trust me. So a mooring ball is a delight. Easy peasy way of just coming in and being safe for the night. You hook onto it. And they were moored in this little inlet. Their bow would basically be facing, you know, Snappa's Bar and Grill. When we circled around Soulmate, it was right in that inlet. And its bow was facing Snappa's Bar and Grill and the Conch Inn, which is right beside Snappa's. Okay? And a whole bunch of other boats all moored in there because it is safe harbor. These little places are safe from the wind and the waves and the, you know, the eastern winds and even the western winds. listen, all the winds, basically safe. What I found interesting was just how easy it would be to just take your paddleboard off the decks of the sailboat Soulmate and put them overboard and climb down the transom, the back of the sailboat, and get onto your paddleboard and go on a little excursion.
I forgot they had the paddle boards too. What's up, Olivia?
Right
Happy
over
Monday.
to Mermaid Reef. That might take you 10 minutes on the paddleboard to go from, they were about halfway in that anchorage in Marsh Harbor. And so if you're paddleboarding over there, what a great little getaway for you and your daughter Carly and your husband Brian. So Lynette Hooker and her family, I believe, went on a paddleboard. Or maybe they went over in their dinghy. I don't know, but it's real quick and real easy to go out from the anchorage and then go north a little bit and then head over to Mermaid Reef and maybe, just maybe, pull up on one of those nice sandy beaches that used to be really beautiful, but now they're just kind of, they just show the anger of what Dorian left behind at that beautiful resort. And then they could go exploring.
Oh, Lord.
Coming in for adult beverage and to investigate private beach. I got my own private beach with my sexy husband.
The boot cam.
The boob cam. I finally found a use for a bathing suit top.
He says the boob cam.
So we know how close it is to where Soulmate would normally anchor. And we know that they got real familiar with this real messed up place that nobody goes to anymore. Because why would you? I mean, they did because they were kind of fascinated by it, but it's really not a tourist attraction. It's not a place for locals. And let me tell you something about the locals when it comes to Snapper Point Marina. I spent days, weeks actually, trying to pinpoint where these photos came from before I saw the sign in one of her videos. That made it a lot easier. Easier, but still not easy. And all of the locals, and I know some locals who know every inch of that area, fire and rescue, they've been everywhere, right? I'd send them these pictures and say, do you recognize this area? Do you recognize this kind of wrecked out marina? And everybody said no, they didn't. And I was so flummoxed by this.
Wow.
How is it that the locals don't know this picture? It's definitely there because Carly was visiting her mom at Marsh Harbor. So along came another clue in the video, and it had that sign, Snapper Point Marina. So I started sending out new communications to all my sources and my contacts and my friends, my new friends, and soon to be very old friends, I hope, because I really plan to go back and see a lot of these folks. This was really a wonderful place to go. And I said, okay, I have another clue. Do you know Snapper Point Marina? And if you do, can you tell me where it is? And most of them, again, said, not familiar with it, don't know it. One or two said, yeah, I think it's up there near Mermaid Reef. And then we found the website for it and populated the pictures from it and started to learn what it used to look like and where it was exactly on the map. And this mattered to me because I want you to go back to our trusty map there where you saw Snappa's Bar and Grill. That's in the inlet where they were anchored on their mooring ball. Then Mermaid Reef where they do the sightseeing, right? Now I want you to go to the east, okay? We're going to have to zoom out a little bit here. We're going to go to the east, and wouldn't you know it, see that upside down wishbone? Go right above that. See that little landmass? That is the now famous Matt Lowe's Key.
Oh, shit. Here you go, Nick Stan. Here you go, Nick Stan. She's on your Matt Lowe's Key now.
Oh, it's called Montage Key, but it used to be called Matt Lowe's Key. Matt Lowe was a pirate. And Matt Lowe's Key is something that Brian referenced, saying we should check up there for her dry bag or maybe the ore or something washed up there. Because I came right by it and nobody would have been there. It's under construction. Easter weekend, no one would have been there. He's been directing us to Matt Lowe's Key / Montage Key for a long time. But let's just go around those keys and come back to the sign that says Jake's Bistro and Ice Cream Parlor. I've never been there, but I wouldn't mind trying it. And then just go down the shore, all the way down to the bottom, Witch Point. Okay?
Down here.
And when you see that big, long, eastern-facing shore of Marsh Harbor from Jake's Bistro and Ice Cream Parlor all the way down to Witch Point, I want you to kind of cut it in half, right at the midway point. Because that, my friends, that midway point
That's
between
where he washed
Jake's
up.
Bistro and Witch Point is, say it with me now, where Brian washed up in his dinghy after
Yep. Bing bong. Damn. She's narrowed him down to that area. Staying there for 2 days. The dinghy washes up there with Brian. He stays there for 2 days. And then they've explored in this area as well.
Bing bong.
floating 9 hours from Elbow Key. So I'm looking at it like, wow, that's interesting. Let me go and game the system again here. If something terrible happened on board Soulmate, and I went all over, the northern part of Elbow Key and showed you the marsh and all the rest, if somebody needed to get rid of a body, not saying that Brian did, he's not charged with this, but if somebody needed to get rid of a body and say they were anchored in Aunt Pat's Bay on Elbow Key, I showed you the northern part of Elbow Key. But what if somebody needed to get rid of a body and wanted to wash up on Marsh Harbor with this story about having to float 9 hours because she went overboard and I couldn't rescue her and we got separated and I didn't have the keys because she had the keys and all that. What if this is the possibility? What if something happened on Soulmate? And again, allegation here, he's not charged. He decided that he needed to get rid of Lynette and end up on Marsh Harbor under power, went all the way to Marsh Harbor. Well, that would take maybe with that dinghy, I think you could probably do that in an hour and a half, maybe even an hour. In the ferry, it's only 20 minutes. And it might be going like maybe 20.
If you take the time she's talking about, how long it would take him, think about this as you're listening to it. And think about the flare, the flashlight at 12:30, and him coming to this, what is it? This Boatworks, right? At 4 a.m. So we've got from 12:30 when we see the flashlight and the dinghy light was on, right? Hey, Bacon. And we go from there. What's up, Dental? This is wild. Dude, she's got him hooker, line, and sinker.
Maybe even an hour. In the ferry, it's only 20 minutes. And it might be going like maybe 20, 25 knots. And I'm thinking like maybe 20 miles an hour. And I'm thinking that the dinghy at top speed, you get less power, but at top speed, you can go about, what was it? 6-7 miles an hour, I think. I'll check those specs, but faster. You can go faster than 2 to 3 miles an hour. And you can be over 4 miles in maybe an hour, right? So what if you went over to the place you knew? Because you've explored that abandoned marina that used to be so pretty, Snapper Point. You've been all through that. You even know there's a nice soft beach to land on in the dark if you need to. And then, let's just say, if somebody decided to get rid of a body in this abandoned area that nobody goes to and it's nasty, right? Tourists don't go there. Locals don't go there. A lot of the locals don't even know it's there.
The locals didn't even recognize the place. Christ. So the question is, are they searching this area on foot? By the way, here is, I'm going to show you this really fast. This is the place I was talking about right here.
Key, but it's a lot bigger.
Watch.
And there's stuff there. People live there and have their homes there and vacation homes. And there have been some restaurants and bars and stuff. It got really hammered.
This is about the Conch Inn, okay?
Hurricane Dorian. So they're still kind of rebuilding a lot there. But you may have heard or seen some of my video from a homeowner named Dean. And Dean is on Lubbers. And Lubbers has obviously one side that faces Marsh Harbor and the other side that faces Elbow Key. So if you're heading over again from Marsh Harbor, you're going to pass Matlow's Key. You're going to pass.
Okay, again, she's talking about this today too, but here's Mermaid Reef. Here's the Conch Inn. Okay. Here's Marsh Harbor. Here's Witch Point. He floated up and ended up right here at this boat marina.
Past Lubbers Quarters, and then you're going to end up in one of the most beautiful anchorages because it's in the lee side of the fierce Atlantic that's blowing from the east, right? The waves up on the far side, on the eastern shore of Elbow Key, they are fierce. The wind is fierce. Not all the time, but a lot.
Fierce.
But because that landmass, that key, Elbow Key, acts as kind of a barrier, everything on the western shore is delightful. It's why people throw anchor down there, because it is safe harbor. It's safe to anchor. You're not going to get blown to smithereens.
Here it is.
You want
This is the Conch Inn right here. There it is. This is the Conch Inn, guys.
there? I wouldn't be hanging around the conch fucking inn. Is my husband out there? I wouldn't be hanging around the conch fucking inn.
That's the conch fucking inn right here. This is where Brian Hooker spent 2 days. I don't know. I'd love to know, Julie Martino. Like, maybe they are searching there and that's why she's talking about it. I don't know. Maybe they'll start searching there now. But there's the conch effing inn.
I'd be out swimming looking for him. You want to see?
That's him at the conch inn, you guys. Blit. Close your legs, Brian Hooker. Get used to keeping them closed. Slam them shut.
Going to the clinker, the big house. Going to the clinker, the big house.
Oh, he's just so gross.
I'd be out swimming looking for him. You want to see what the mooring ball looks like and Soulmate looks like right now in Marsh Harbor? Here.
Oh, so Captain Ronnie drove by too to show her the boat now. And this was 4 days ago.
Here it is this morning. And again, I'm taping this on Wednesday, April 29th. But this morning, I got these images of Soulmate sitting on its mooring ball in Marsh Harbor. Presumably, it has been there ever since, right? Captain Ronnie, thank you.
Look,
You have
it's just sitting there all by its lonesome.
been so incredibly helpful in.
Thank you, Captain Ronnie. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the conch fucking inn. Because that's where he spent 2 days while his wife was missing. These guys were out searching for his wife. And he's parked on his ass at the conch fucking inn. Like, fuck directly off, Brian. Unbelievable, man. 2 days. How could you even sit still for an hour? But he hung out there for 2 days.
God bless
What?
America.
Watch it again.
About you all. Like I said, if that was my husband out there, I wouldn't be hanging around the conch fucking inn. I'd be out swimming looking for him.
Mm-hmm. The conch motherfucking inn. We do. We love Captain Ronnie. No, this is a video from their TikTok, but this is the same place. So that's probably what he was. I mean, that's probably what he was doing, right? But in the meantime, right after he got out, he said, "There's gonna need to be a higher power to make me stop." Shut up, Brian Hooker. Just shut the fuck up. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Right, and then he sat there talking on the phone for 45 minutes. Yeah. POS.
By my estimation, because I've asked and interviewed at least a dozen people about this location. Don't know, never heard of it. It would not take you but a minute to do whatever you'd want to do with, say, a body, allegation only, Brian's not charged, at that Mermaid Reef pin that we dropped, which was where Snapper Point Marina's detritus was. And then if you wanted to take your dinghy back in the dark, out around those keys, Matt Lowe's Key, you don't have to go out that far, but you can make your way back down the shore, down past Jake's Bistro and Ice Cream Parlor area, and halfway down towards Witch Point, and then just beach yourself up there.
You go.
And at 4 o'clock in the morning say, "I'm marooned, help me," because a couple hundred yards to the north is a boatyard. If you want to zoom in on the map to know like what the streets look like in that area, because there are streets, you drive to the boatyard that's right effectively where Brian Hooker, so to speak, washed up. I'm not entirely sure he did, but it's kind of easy to access, and it's a place you would know. You might even know that boatyard. If you're a sailor, you may have visited that boatyard either by land or by water before. And the place where Brian was marooned was just south of that boatyard. He was able to walk, he says, through a bunch of thicket and all the rest, but you could actually kind of walk the shore, right? Lower tide, I think you walk the shore. I think high tide was around 10 o'clock at night, so 4 o'clock in the morning should have been kind of lower tide. and you can get to the boatyard and say, help me, help me. My wife fell out 9 hours ago and I floated all the way over here. Again, 9 hours doesn't make sense, but okay. So it kind of made sense that if you needed to get rid of a body and you'd already been to Snapper Point Marina and you'd already poked around there, taking pictures there, your wife took selfies there, your stepdaughter and your wife were there with you all day. Not saying that Brian did this because, again, he's not charged, but if you needed to, this kind of would make sense. This area.
No, just to clarify, that video of him sitting there spread eagle was from him and Lynette's video from when they were there before. But that's where he went back after she went missing and hung out for 2 days, right? So I would just want to remind you guys of what Brian Hooker had to say, knowing all this knowledge, and we'll get back to Ashley, but I want you to listen to this again.
Tell you.
I was speaking with a volunteer the day that I was detained to go out on one of their boats. They were going to take off work and take me searching some more areas.
Areas.
I won't be able to stop looking.
Boo-hoo.
You want to keep looking.
I won't be able to stop looking. You hear that bullshit? He opens his mouth and shit flies out.
And take me searching some more areas.
Areas. Mama. He sounds like more of a man baby than ever.
I won't be able to stop looking.
You want to keep looking.
I won't be able to stop looking.
Look at his hands. I won't be able to stop looking. Am I saying what you want to hear? Am I saying the right thing? That's what it's like. Like, is this good enough? Are you buying it? Liar. Lying liar who lies.
Areas. I won't be able to stop looking.
You want to keep looking for Lynette.
I'm going to need somebody with more authority to tell me to stop.
Oh, shut the hell up. Somebody with more authority. He leaves the next day. The next day, Carly arrives and this motherfucker leaves with his dirty fingernails. Oh, Lord. Oh, here comes when Brian turns on the tears. We've heard about this before. He cries. Every time he's in trouble, he cries like a little baby. Boo-hoo. Oh, Tina says, hard to find your wife from a bar stool in Michigan, Brian. Look at him. Watch. What a fucking douche. Come on.
You explain to me. You've seen the attention this case has had. And more like I've heard about it. I haven't.
Oh, I've heard about it. I haven't watched any social media. He's about to lie again. You ready?
Has had. And more like I've heard about it. I have not looked at the news or any social media since the day before the accident.
Since the day before the accident.
Because my sister flew in to support me and said it's getting terrible out there. And
so meanwhile, remember, he was at the Conch Inn for 2 days before his sister flew in, okay?
my sister flew in to support me and said it's getting terrible out there. And then I went to dinner one night after searching, and
I went to dinner one night after searching. We know this is fucking lies.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
He was at the Conch Inn. Belly up. Belly up at the Conch Inn. That's what the fuck happened.
I went to dinner one night after searching, and
he never searched, just so you know. He never searched. He's lying. That's another lie. This is all lies. If I had my lie buzzer, it would be going berserk. Let's turn on the lie buzzer, the lie detector. Ready? Here we go.
I went to dinner one night after searching, and I was approached by a freelance reporter, and I began to think that it was going to be terrible.
I began to think it was going to be terrible. What? What? Ooh, I wish the Conch Inn would release videos of Brian from those 2 days. Ooh, that'd be good. Right, how can you even eat? How can you even think about food? Fucking belly up at the Conch Inn. Look at him. Look at that side-eye motherfucker. Bullshit button in effect. Oh my God, is he disgusting? Just disgusting. All right, back to Ash.
The way you could just scoot back down along that eastern shore of Marsh Harbor and beach your boat, put it on the coral, and get into that area where fire and rescue found that dinghy, hours later. It's just kind of a fascinating possibility. And I think that if you're the police or if you're the Coast Guard, you're probably gaming out this system too, gaming out the possibilities. I mean, listen, amidst all of this, me looking into it, I get an email, text actually, saying from Dean Zamzile, who gave us the surveillance video that looked across from Lubbers right onto the ass end of all the boats that had thrown down anchor off of Aunt Pat's Bay and Elbow Key. And he has surveillance video. And look at the past episodes, y'all. We saw some things. Anyway.
Hey, citizen.
We got an email, a text from Dean Zamzile, who got a note from his neighbor with a picture of a helicopter hovering right over like Dean's house, his area, right in the middle of Lubbers' quarters, that key. And of course, we're all wondering, oh my God, did they see something? Have they got something? Is that helicopter a law enforcement helicopter? I chased it down pretty quick.
Oh, damn. She is on this shit like white on rice.
Turns out that at the time that this was happening, that chopper, according to law enforcement, is not a law enforcement helicopter. It is not a government helicopter. It is a private helicopter. And my sources told me in the area, the local sources I talked to, oh, there's a huge fishing tournament going on. Michael Jordan's even here fishing in it. And the helicopter is probably monitoring, taking pictures or monitoring.
Oh, my God. It was a celebrity sighting. Stop it. Where the fuck is Lynette? I mean, she found out what it was, but Jesus. Maybe he was searching for his lost shaker of salt. He maybe blew out his flip-flop and stepped on a pop-top.
During the tournament itself. So you can see how everybody's kind of thinking of this, especially the locals who, they don't have a lot of murders here. It's just not that kind of place. And so this big story of the helicopter kind of took up my attention for a while until I was able to run it down and find out it had nothing to do with the investigation of Lynette Hooker's disappearance. But now we've looked at two places, all within dinghy range of where Brian Hooker said Lynette bounced out, and within dinghy range of where Brian Hooker may
that smug ass
have, with his wife, returned to their soulmate 46-foot catch.
This was him when he got out of jail. Does that face say, I want to go find my wife? What does that face say? Smug ass. Makes me sick. Lynette deserved so much better.
Have, with his wife, returned to their soulmate 46-foot catch anchored right there in Aunt Pat's Bay, 150 meters offshore. All these places I'm showing you, the potential. If something happened to Lynette on board Soulmate, or maybe on the dinghy, what would happen next? What would a United States Marine, if he had done something to her, what would he do next? Because that body is not in the Sea of Abaco, my friends. And it should be, if his story is true. But everybody I speak to, all the experts, fire and rescue, nautical experts, marine weather experts, tides experts, everybody I've talked to said, nope, absolutely not. Her body, if his story was true, would be in the Sea of Abaco. And it ain't, because it's like a swimming pool. It's so shallow you can see the bottom everywhere. And you would see her, and her dry bag would have floated up on the shore. And the paddle that he lost and his dinghy and everything would have floated up on Lubbers because that's where the wind pattern was taking it.
There's so much shit missing, too. Her clothes, the oar. We don't know where the blue seat cushion is. But we have a watch. Remember, her watch was on Soulmate. And now we have all these lights on Soulmate that night. So I think we can comfortably assume that they made it back to Soulmate. Because when the lights were on Soulmate, Lynette was supposed to have been missing. And he was going up over Lubbers, remember? Paddling away. The missing wedding ring, it's because they took his jewelry. So they had his watch and his ring. And as soon as he got the watch and ring back, he was gone. I don't know. I don't know if he has a mistress. I don't know who would fucking want him. I think that his anger got the best of him. I don't know, crime scene photo. Would they have septic tanks on that deserted island? That's a good question. They had to have made it back to Soulmate. So his story crumbles from the very beginning, like we said. But now there's proof of it. Explain those lights. That's what we heard, is that he fell over while he was handcuffed. But I also want to show you guys something else right here. And keep in mind.
Did police ever explicitly ask you if you...
Keep in mind, when he was sitting here talking, do you know what this motherfucker was doing? This motherfucker was working with the embassy to get his passport expedited. This man had no intentions of staying on this island and looking for his wife, right? Because we know what he was doing behind the scenes. So this shows you right here the character of this man, because we know that this motherfucker was trying to get his passport so he could get the fuck out of there as quickly as possible. But he was sitting here telling the public this.
Did police ever explicitly ask you if you hurt your wife? Of course. What did you say to them? I said I've never harmed Lynette, and I never would harm Lynette, and I want to find Lynette.
This morning, we're finally hearing from Brian Hooker about that tragic boat ride, his wife's disappearance, and the agonizing days since she allegedly vanished in the waters off the Bahamas.
I don't think I've ever been apart from her in 25 years.
Look at his fingernails, too, when he got out of jail. What the fuck, dude? Did you wipe your ass with your fingers? But think about it. This fucker was trying to get his passport. This is like some Scott Peterson shit. Everyone's searching for his wife. He's on the phone with his girlfriend. Hey, I'm in Paris. Can you hear me, Amber? It's the same. This motherfucker's faking and trying to get the hell out of there, but telling us a different story. He's a lying liar who lies.
From her in 25 years, for this long.
Brian Hooker says Lynette accidentally fell from the couple's boat in rough conditions 11 days ago. But with his lawyer looking on, he would not go into great detail about the active investigation into his wife's disappearance.
If there's anything you can share about Easter weekend that you remember. I cannot share anything. As you can imagine, things are chaos and hectic, and I welcome any attention, anything that helps me further my goal of finding Lynette.
Brian Hooker has not been charged.
Further your goal of finding Lynette as he's getting a passport expedited to bolt.
It helps me further my goal of finding Lynette.
Brian Hooker has not been charged with any crime, and police...
How chaotic was it? It's chaotic because you were in fucking prison. Here he is coming out of jail, or you were in jail. Here he goes.
Released him late Monday.
Any response? I'm sorry.
But here in the Bahamas, the country's top cop tells me investigators do not trust Hooker's story.
Police still look at you as a suspect. Why do you think that is?
I think some of it is probably the media attention.
He thinks that he's a suspect because of media attention? I welcome all attention. No, you're not a suspect because of media attention, you dumbass. God. He is just deplorable.
Which is understandable.
Which is understandable.
My time with the Bahamian police was a small part of hell and a bigger part of hell that I'm really in right now.
What? I would think your hell would be your wife being missing. Listen.
With the Bahamian police was a small, with the Bahamian, which is understandable.
Listen.
My time with the Bahamian police was a small part of hell and a bigger part of hell that
the time with the police was a small part of hell and a bigger part of hell than I'm in right now. You know why? Because he was worried about getting caught. That's the only thing he was worried about. He would be in a living hell with his wife missing. Okay? Oh my God, Lori.
Was a small part of hell and a bigger part of hell that I'm really in right now. But they have to do their job right now. But
really? They have to do their job. Okay. So the time you spent with the Bahamian police was a big part of hell. Probably because they grilled the fuck out of him. Right? And he was like, I don't remember. I was confused.
Was a small part of hell and a bigger part of hell that I'm really in right now. But
listen,
they have to do their job.
Shut up. Shut up. Look at him look right at the camera. They have to do their job. Are they going to arrest me? Are they going to arrest me? He blamed the media and then he's like, well, but it's understandable. Don't not talk to me anymore. But this guy's a goon. Goon.
Right now. But they have to do their job.
I also asked Brian about his relationship with Lynette, which has at times reportedly been volatile.
What do you want people to know about your marriage with Lynette?
I want people to know that Lynette is my life, and we have been together almost half my life, and we belong to each other.
He says he plans to keep searching for Lynette by water and even by air if he can hire a plane.
This is where the big lies come. Hey, Colleen. Happy Monday.
No one has told me not to stop looking, and I'm going to keep looking. No one has told me not to stop looking, and I'm going to keep looking.
Hire a plane.
No one has told me not to stop looking, and I'm going to keep looking.
Why do you have to lie so much, Brian? Okay, let's finish this out.
What would you do with the body? If Lynette is not in the Sea of Abaco, like Brian says she was, where else might she be? These are the things that law enforcement has to be doing. We have already witnessed the United States Coast Guard with their cadaver dog sniffing all along the north end of Lubbers, thinking maybe he did something there. He said he threw his anchor down. Maybe he did something there. There are a lot of people who we talk to who say they think Lynette may be buried somewhere on Lubbers. Maybe not the north end, because he wouldn't have taken our attention there, where he said, I just stayed there with my anchor for a while and shot off flares. Check the last episodes to debunk that. A lot of people think maybe he's buried halfway down Lubbers, because there's a lot of hurricane detritus there as well, a couple of places. Cracker Peas and Lubbers Landing, those are two places that are wrecked out we'll do another episode on those. But so far, we do deep dives. We try to get as much information as we can from the people who know it, people who are there, and then present it to you. But again, Brian's not charged. He's not charged with anything yet. TikTok, Brian Hooker. TikTok. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode.
I love that.
But again, Brian's not charged. He's not charged with anything yet. TikTok, Brian Hooker. TikTok.
For real. TikTok. Yeah, this just came out today. This is brand new. What's up, Ferrero? This came out 2 hours ago. So we are up to speed on that. We're up to speed on that. But what I want to play is one more. So we know he left right after he did that interview. He left the Bahamas. We all know that. But here's another clip of his lying ass. Check this out.
This morning, Brian Hooker is speaking out after Bahamian authorities released him from custody without...
Look how fucking big he is, too. Ooh, look at him in the background. See, there they are paddle boarding through some of those like marshy areas. Look at that. But he's a big dude.
This morning, Brian Hooker is speaking out after Bahamian authorities released him from custody without pressing charges in his wife's disappearance.
What was it like being in police custody, knowing that the search was still ongoing for your wife?
It was hell. It was a different chapter of hell and a giant hell that I'm in.
Oh, he used that same sentence.
What was it like being in police custody?
What was it like being in police custody?
Knowing that the search was still ongoing for your wife?
It was hell. It was a different chapter of hell and a giant hell that I'm in.
Meanwhile, you're trying to get your passport because you leave the very next day. He's in Michigan somewhere. Look at him smiling, too.
Hell. It was a different chapter of hell and a giant hell that I'm in.
You're still in it?
Yes.
Oh, my God. We need to go one day and just watch all of these interviews because this is crazy. Yeah, it's like all rehearsed. He had 5 days in there to think. It's hell. It's a piece of hell I'm in. Hold on. This guy's a joker. What a joker.
Hell and a giant hell that I'm in.
That sound good? Holy shit. Duper's Delight. We're going to get to the Nancy Guthrie update right after this.
You're still in it?
Yes. I don't have a wife.
Oh, there's that cough again. That must be how he starts his tears.
Boo-hoo.
I don't have the wife. He's not going to be getting any acting jobs anytime soon. Look at him. Yee. Look at this performance, dude. Oh, man, Hooker, you are so cooked. Look at his face. I'm just skipping 5 seconds. Look at him. Ooh. There he is smiling. I'm free. Sorry.
Well, it was a different chapter of hell and a giant hell that I'm in.
You're still in it?
Yes. I don't have a wife. She belongs with me.
Hooker, who plans on staying in the Bahamas, overcome with emotion as he returns to searching for his wife.
My only focus is to go back to the boat and then hire or beg people to help me go find some areas to search.
Is that what's next for you?
Hire or beg people to help him search. He never did this. He left.
That's what's next for me until my visa runs out.
And in a new audio recording, Hooker opening up for the first time about what he says happened in the immediate moments his wife Lynette was lost at sea after falling overboard on their dinghy more than a week ago.
She basically just bounced off the dinghy in the middle of a little blow. She had the spare dinghy key in her dry bag.
She basically just bounced off the dinghy in the middle of a little blow.
Which was with her.
This conversation with friends recorded the day before he was arrested. Hooker recalling how he immediately lost sight of her.
The wind blew us apart so fast that I think she tried to swim back to the sailboat, back to our sailboat. I yelled to her that I lost an oar, and I threw the anchor out and anchored the dinghy, and I yelled. I couldn't see her anymore.
The 58-year-old claiming he tried to rescue her.
What was the last thing that you remember saying to each other?
Without going into a lot of details because of the ongoing investigation, I will always think there was something I could have done differently. My one job was to look out for her. And
there's the hands. You guys know these hands bother me, okay? These hands bother me. He's asked about the last thing that they said to one another. And he says, I can't say anything because the ongoing investigation, but this is what he does. We know that he's a choker. He choked his daughter. He choked Lynette. I don't like the hands. He can't talk, so he's talking with his hands, in my opinion. My one job.
Into a lot of details because of the ongoing investigation. I will always think there was something I could have done differently. My one job was to...
I don't like that. I don't like the hands, okay? He does things with his hands. He's got a history of doing things to people with his hands.
Done differently. My one job was to look out for her, and that has not happened. And I'm going to keep looking out for her now.
Thank you, Mars, for your super sticker.
And that has not happened. And I'm going to keep looking out for her now.
As he leaves the island. I think his hands are the fucking weapon, dude. His fucking hands. Because he gets all torn up. At first, he's like, my one job. Because it's almost like he's envisioning maybe strangling her. And then he needs to get his composure, and he goes, my one job. You know, he tries to compose himself. Watch.
To each other.
Watch.
Without going into a lot of details because of the ongoing investigation, I will always think there was something I could have done differently. My one job was to look out for
that. He's like, my one job. And then he's like, fuck.
I will never.
He ended up getting his watch and his ring back, and that's when he left.
I will always think there was something I could have done differently. My one job was to look out for her, and that has not happened.
And that has not happened. Shrugs.
Look out for her, and that has not happened. And I'm going to keep looking out for her now as best I can.
Oh. I'm going to be looking out for her the best I can. What a liar. Such a liar, man. Okay, I can't do any more Brian Hooker today, but thank you, Ashley and Lindsay, for the excellent coverage that you guys have been bringing us. It's amazing. All right, so up next, on the docket today is the Nancy Guthrie case. It's been like 93 days. And I might be off by a day or two. But the shit's crazy, dude. We still got streamers out there looking. We've got streamers that are still sitting in front of the house at night. We've just got a lot of weird. It's just weird. Like nothing's being said. We've got no updates. We've got a new video of a guy stealing plants that's masked up and wearing gloves. We're going to look at that too. But I want to read this because this was in the Parade. And this is dated the 4th of May, which is today. Brian Enton. Now, I don't know. This is all giving credit to Brian Enton. So it's wild. Ferrero, welcome to the Truth Seekers. It says Nancy Guthrie update. Speculation about Annie and Tommaso. Addressed by Brian Enton. Exclusive. Brian Enton says he has not seen evidence linking Annie or Tommaso to the case, despite ongoing investigation. Stealing cacti, Austin. Oh, dude, I know. I know, Leo, it's annoying. Yeah, we can, TJ. As the Nancy Guthrie investigation continues, so does speculation about what might have happened to the 84-year-old. Despite the Pima County Sheriff, we do have a statement from him yesterday. It was a joke. Clearing the family in the case, many social media users find themselves looking at the closest to Guthrie for answers. In a new interview, Brian Enton tells Parade that he hasn't seen any evidence to support these theories, particularly about Guthrie's daughter, Annie, and her husband, Tommaso. Brian Enton said, quote, "The sheriff has made it clear they are not suspects, that they have been cleared. So I think we just have to go on that. I've never seen any evidence that anyone in the family is involved." He goes on to say, "I feel bad for them, honestly. You think about the disappearance of Nancy, Annie's mom, and then to be raked over the coals like that on the internet is pretty terrible." Come on, Brian. You were out there when they were taking pictures. You were out there. You know they took their car for 30 days. You were out there when ICAC was there. You were out there when they searched the wash behind their house. Enton also told Parade that he's reached out to Annie and her husband in hopes of landing an interview, but he hasn't had any luck. So maybe that's why he's saying this, so he can get an interview. Annie and Tommaso were the last people to see Nancy before her abduction. According to Pima County Sheriff, Nancy took an Uber to their home about 10 minutes away for dinner on Saturday the 31st. Around 9:45 p.m. local time, Tommaso drove Nancy home. And that's being printed today. Tommaso drove Nancy home, according to Sheriff Nanos. Authorities say they have proof that Nancy's garage went up around that time and down a couple minutes later. From that point forward, it's unclear what happened inside of Nancy's home. Why did they do this interview exclusive with Brian Enton? To say that Annie and Tommaso are not suspects. Why is Jennifer Coffindaffer going so hard for Annie and Tommaso? What's going on? What is going on? That's it. What was the point in doing that article? You know what I mean? Don't you guys think that's a little weird? Then we have this, which is what I was just telling you guys about. Masked thief caught on camera stealing plants near Nancy's home. Dude, look at the fucking leg. I mean, what the hell? They're saying this is new Ring footage. But they're not saying whose house this is. The people want to remain anonymous. Getting behind making dog food for my client, but you take priority at the moment. Love you, lady. Aw, Cindy, you make dog food? Oh, that's amazing. I'd love to know your recipe. Been thinking about doing that for my dog, Bella. She's got such bad allergies. I'm trying to rule out food, but the only time that you can rule out food is if you literally make your own, because all the food has additives. Men can't bend and snap like us. So this guy was wearing a ski mask, gloves, and driving a gray F-150 truck. Apparently these plants, these cacti, are worth money. Yeah, chicken meal, but then there's corn and all this other shit. But they won't say where this is at. I know, Sparky, we should do it. We should do like a live, and I'll make cat or dog food and cat food or something. Fuck it, we'll do it live. I'll bring you guys into my little kitchen.
Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
I did cut out chicken meal. Now I give her a food with salmon. It doesn't have chicken in it. Mescaline alkaloid. You have a dog with allergies, you have to make her food. No, I'm telling you, someone told me that these cacti are worth a lot of money. Let's see. Why do people steal cacti in Arizona? Someone told me it's a thing. Yeah, look. It's a black market. People steal cacti in Arizona primarily because they are highly valuable and part of a lucrative global black market. Despite strict state laws where stealing or damaging a saguaro is a felony, the demand remains high for several reasons. Large, mature cacti like the saguaro can sell for $100 or more per foot. A single mature specimen used for landscaping can fetch over $1,000. Wow. Because they grow so slow, it can take 75 to 100 years just to grow its first arm. Stealing them is a shortcut for those who don't want to wait decades for a nursery plant to mature. There's a booming international demand, particularly in Europe and Asia, for rare and exotic species. Poachers often target endangered species because their rarity increases market value. Look at this. In some instances, stolen cacti are traded as currency for illegal drugs. What? To combat this, the Saguaro National Park has begun microchipping thousands of cacti. They're microchipping these. Thank you for subscribing, Kim Bittner. Welcome in. They're microchipping cacti. Look, Phoenix Magazine. The Sonorian Job, Cactus Theft in Arizona. The text messages between Jared Malloy and William Starr Schwartz sound like a drug deal straight out of Breaking Bad. Over a period of several months, the two residents of Meadview, a town of 1,500 in northwest Arizona, discussed driving an ATV or car into the desert, grabbing loot for their buyers, and exchanging it for meth, marijuana, or money. You need barrels? I need all kinds. Hey, I got some more baby hedgehogs, pineapples, and good-looking large cotton top. Don't forget the drugs. The plot twist, barrels, baby hedgehogs, pineapples, and cotton tops are type of cactuses. In January of this year, Malloy pleaded guilty to stealing cactuses from Lake Mead National Rec Area and selling them himself or in concert with Schwartz to customers in 18 countries, from the U.S. to France to Afghanistan. He was sentenced 3 years. Oh, my God. Schwartz was convicted in 2019 for overseeing or perpetuating the theft of more than 500 cactuses between 2014 and 2018. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Demands for succulents is spiking. Jesus. They're training them for drugs? That's fucking crazy, dude. I mean, this is a real court case. It's got to be real. Look at this person in Tucson. Someone stole my golden barrel cacti out of the ground. And then this person on Reddit says they started microchipping. Here, NPR. Yep, microchip IDs have been embedded in the Saguaro National Park. Look at this, The Guardian. It's not going to load. Yanked from the ground, cactus theft is ravaging the American desert. Hipsters' taste have fueled a spike in succulent poaching. Some of them are 40 to 60 feet high, too. I guess it's a state park. The state's paying for it. And what the hell, man? Hey, shiny little objects. I like your picture. Beautiful sunset. I just hopped on. Yes, I think it's odd. Jen simps for A&T, but also think Brian Guthrie wants an interview with A or T. Yes, you're right, shiny. Beautiful photo. Okay, so back to this guy. Where'd it go? KVOA, sorry. Why is it not loading now? There it is. Okay. So here's the guy. Remember in the Guthrie case, though, and this is in the Catalina foothills somewhere. Remember in the Guthrie case, they said they were looking for a gray truck at some point? Really, Carrie Lou, it helped, though? Yeah, that neighbor loves being on camera. So here's this person, and it says, new Ring camera from a video from a home in the Catalina foothills making rounds online. Now, mind you, this is less than a mile from Nancy's, but we don't know whose house it is because they said this person wanted to remain anonymous. But I was trying to figure out what this is right here. Like, what is this that the camera is picking up? Because this camera is up pretty high, I guess. I just can't figure out what this is. We don't know what house it is, so. But anyway, it was taken last Wednesday, capturing the incident just before 11 p.m. So there's a video. Let's watch. Sorry. You guys hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the like button. I appreciate it. Really, really does help. I know it's annoying. I keep repeating it, but it really helps. Here we go.
Well, new Ring camera video from a Catalina foothills home just blocks away from Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood making the rounds online tonight. And it was taken just last night, showing a masked person in gloves walking up a private driveway in the middle of the night and taking a potted cacti. News 4 Tucson's Jacob Owens joins us from the foothills with why this video, Jacob, is causing some concern tonight.
Monica, that's right. If this were any other situation, this video likely would not be getting this sort of attention, but it's not a...
He talks so slow.
Different scenario. This was less than a mile from Nancy Guthrie's home here in the foothills. It's a neighborhood that's been on edge for weeks and actually months. Tomorrow marks 90 days since Nancy Guthrie disappeared from her home here in the foothills, and that's 3 months. So a video surfacing of a man in a mask on private property.
Okay, so here you can see a broader view of the driveway and stuff. So here he is, and here's these potted plants. And he's pulled up. It looks like they have like a circle drive, maybe like Nancy. That isn't Nancy's, is it? This isn't Nancy's from the roof video. No, it says ring. That's right. But they just pull right up with their lights on and everything? Hello, Aristo. Oops. Oh my God. Spray WD-40 inside your toilet, y'all. Dude, I just cleaned my toilet yesterday. My phone saw it. And now they're telling me to use WD-40. Yeah, it's less than a mile, but we don't know where.
Property is raising some surprise with a neighbor I spoke with. This neighbor who posted, so take a look, the neighbor who posted the video from last night wants to remain anonymous, we should say, but says that the video shows a gray Ford F-150 pulling into their driveway just before 11. Moments later, a man wearing gloves, a face mask, and a baseball cap gets out of the truck, walks toward the front of the home, and begins loading several potted cacti into the bed of the pickup. The homeowner later posted the video to the Ring app, where it quickly started circulating through the Catalina foothills. We reached out to the sheriff's department asking if they had seen the video, and they say they have not been advised of anything like this, but they do say they will keep me posted. And while there's no indication that the incident is connected to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, one neighbor tells me the location of this, while there is an increased law enforcement presence in this area, makes this a shock.
It is someone walking on your property late at night.
Oh my God, and here he is again. Why is he always involved? Does he love the camera or what? This guy is so weird. I'm not trying to be mean, but he is strange. And he's always there.
Uninvited, committing, it might be a small crime, but committing a crime, and it is disturbing. It tries to point home that we have to be watchful, be aware of our homes, but also of our neighbors.
Monica, again, this is a good reminder for people who live in this neighborhood to
That's Jeff Lamy. Yeah, Jeffrey. With the papillons. Jeffrey. He thinks he's cute. He thinks he's cute. If they went to this neighbor, this must have been pretty close. Right. So how close was it exactly? Less than a mile, and then they're talking to Jeff Laramie. That guy's face. Like, were these people not home or what?
cacti into the bed of mask and a baseball.
I'm gonna mute it. Oh, I can't slow it down. Eek. You know who fucks with plants, though, is Mr. Choney. Did you guys know that? Remember the picture or the video of Mr. Choney with his plants? Mr. Choney likes plants. I mean, that's just ballsy as fuck. He's looking down, too, again. Marcy, thank you. You think they were asleep? Mr. Biscoff, thank you so much, Marcy. It's bananas, girl. This shit is bananas.
Bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-N.
Oops. But it's weird, right? That the person at Nancy's pulled flowers to try to get the thing out. The Ring camera or the Nest camera off. Oh, I do have an announcement. Breaking news. Annie and Tommaso have paid their taxes. They are paid up. Zero balance. It's weird that when that guy walked up to the porch guy walked up, he's like, oh, maybe I'll grab these flowers. Hello, Joey in Portugal. God dang it. No Nads is here again. He said, all I know is that Tommaso didn't do it. I don't know who did it, but it's not my gambling buddy. Yes, Nancy's are paid as well. Just a weird incident. Weird. Like, they would have had to know those were there. First of all. It's, oh, Cindy Lou Who. Thank you for your super sticker. We got a kitty cat. Thank you. They had to have known these motherfuckers were there. How did they know that? I mean, are they driving around the Catalina foothills looking to see who has potted cacti? He does kind of have a weird gait. I agree. That's why I'm showing this. Here he comes. Watch him walk. Oh, then we go to him. Me and my Papillons, seen her. Hold on. It's like he's not even in a hurry. Dude, that's weird because he even shut his door. I would be so uncomfortable. You know what I mean? If you really look at this, he gets out, he shuts his door, and he pops open the back door. Hey, shiny little objects coming in with a $4.99 Laughing Lemon. Thank you so much for your support. Those are cute. So he actually shuts his door. Watch the bend and snatch. Okay. There's the bend down. The snatch. And there's the walkover. Oh. Someone's got a bum like left leg there. Watch. Someone's got a bum knee. See that? Bow-legged. They did say something about a gray truck. I don't know what happened with that, where that came from, but let me Google it. Nancy Guthrie gray truck. It actually came up. Justice with Matt Johnson. Let's see. February 12th, Fox News. Vehicles at center of Nancy Guthrie investigation as police canvass for truck and ring footage. Investigators repeatedly ask neighbors about truck ownership while requesting ring footage from two specific time windows. Detectives have come twice and asked for our names and who we are and so on and what kind of cars we drive and if we have a truck. Neighbors also mentioned a possible gray truck in the area. However, no make, model, or license plate information has been provided. Authorities have not publicly commented on whether a truck is considered a vehicle of interest. Fox News reached out for more info, and that's pretty much all it says. Here's another one from Fox. Oh, no. Never mind. So there was a slight mention of a gray truck. I'm going to put a video together of a side-by-side of Porch Guy and this guy. I'll do that tonight. Now bend and snatch and bend and snatch. And then we got him saying, well, it's a little concerning. I don't know what to make of this guy. Another piece of the puzzle, possibly. And, you know, they could have that footage from another night. Because remember, they asked all the neighbors, hey, give us your footage from the 11th of January and the 31st. What if that's really footage from one of those nights or something? And they're just not telling us all the truth. Or it could be recent. Is that person maybe taunting LE? Like, catch me if you can. I don't know. We've got one more thing from Nanos, though, I want to show you. I put it up last night. It is literally a shit update, but thank you, Marcy. Try again, folks. Try again.
Did I ask them to do that?
Okay, so this is, he actually talked to some Tucson reporter yesterday, and I clipped what he said. Look at his face. Look at your nose. Let's not forget he has a wife. Okay, ready?
The reward money's still there. It's there for a reason. We think somebody out there knows something. We know they do. We know that someone out there knows what happened. Call us. The reward money's still there.
Oh,
it's there.
Wait, let me play it again because you might have missed it the first time. This is his update. You fucking kidding me, Nanos?
The reward money's still there. It's there for a reason. We think somebody out there knows something. We know they do. We know that someone out there knows what happened. Call us.
Call us.
The reward money's still there.
The reward money is still there, people. Sorry. He has very large lobes. I think he used to have plugs. But yeah, that's the latest from him. So also, if we go Sheriff Nanos latest, I think there might be an article. But nothing. I mean, where the hell is Nancy? Parade. What is this? Sheriff's Department makes changes with FBI as case scrutiny grows. Look, they put exclusive for everything. Look, News Nation, Brian Enton shared an important update. What the hell? Who is this? Who's Effie? Effie? And Mabel. She's a trending news writer for Parade. Okay, then. Men's Journal. No. I was hoping to find the actual local news that posted it, but oh, you know what we need to do? We need to watch that damn reality show too. No, I can't even find it. Anyway, that's the clip I got from this. Did I put in? Oh, I didn't even put it in the description. Dang it. Anyways, that's the latest and greatest. He had plugs and sewed them back on incorrectly. I don't even know. It's like, Nick, it seems like they're taking info from his videos or something. Yeah, it's on Amazon, I think. Let's look. What's it called again? Let's see where we can watch it. What's the Pima County, I don't remember the name of it, reality show. Desert Law. Desert Law. You can watch it on A&E. Where else can you watch it? Oh, here's a preview.
You're going to want to check this out. A new show is about to give you a close-up look at what Pima County Sheriff's deputies really do out there. The A&E series Desert Law starts this Wednesday, and cameras followed deputies all last spring and summer, we're told, as they handled calls across 9,000 square miles. And we're told you will see the deputies on patrol, DUI checks, and nighttime cases. PCSD is hoping this show is going to help people understand their work and maybe even join the team.
So that's what they said. They were doing it for publicity to get more officers, when really the problem is nanos. Oh my God. Here's him talking about he's wearing his burgundy shirt. Let's see what he says. Come on, Nanos. We're going to have to watch it on my kick.
Grainger knows that as the procurement coordinator at a manufacturing plant, you can count on auto reordering to have the PPE you need on hand. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Does it
Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Skip.
This, you will learn real quick that our deputies, our staff, are human beings too.
Welcome back to 13 News on Fox 11. I'm Mary Coleman.
So
The
weird.
Pima County
Why does he
Sheriff's
whisper?
Department is going to be highlighted in a new 10-episode limited series called Desert Law by A&E Television. The first episode will be released this Wednesday. 13 News reporter Renee Romo joins us live outside of a PCSD station now. And Renee, you spoke with Sheriff Chris Nanos about the show. What can we expect to see?
Well, Mary, from deputy ride-alongs to glimpses inside the jail and the dispatch center, viewers will have the chance to get an inside look at every...
Hey, Sheriff Nonads, get rid of the burgundy shirt. You ain't pimping. You ain't pimping in it. And button that motherfucker up, because ain't nobody want to see that chest.
everything that has to do with the department.
Every corner of this department they were allowed access to, and I think you'll see that.
Sheriff Chris Nanos tells me the department has previously worked with A&E, so when the network approached them with the opportunity to be the focus of this first season, they said yes.
Ugh. He looks like the damn perp.
Every corner of this department they were allowed access to, and I think you'll see that.
Sheriff Chris Nanos tells me the department has previously worked with A&E, so when the network approached...
He's scary. He is so scary, Jammers.
Them with the opportunity.
The camera angle, I know, is horrible. Can we get some Nanos heads in the chat, please? Oh, we got to end this poll. How about Lynette? I have an alibi. I was playing poker with Tommaso. Nanos, you might want to shut your mouth. Lynette, okay, who do you think fired the flare? Going back to the Hooker case for just a second. Lynette, 62%. Neither, it's not a flare, 24%. Brian, 14%. Thank you for voting. Yeah, what did they previously work with A&E on? His heads, I look over and I see all his face.
To be the focus of this first season.
Dude, tell me that doesn't look like the perp's eyes. It's so weird. Nano says, what a beautiful chat. I'm screenshotting that. Will you frame it in your office? Please, Nanos. No nads. Creepy eyeballs.
They said yes. Filming happened during the spring and summer and went into early fall.
You get to sit there front row seat and watch and see.
Cameramen had the chance to follow patrol deputies, the DUI unit, night detectives, search and rescue, and much more. And beyond the transparency the show will offer the community, Nanos tells me he hopes with it being shown nationally, it'll help the department with recruitment.
This shows you the challenges that the young men and women in the field face from day to day, and that it's just there's such a variety.
Along with the challenges, Desert Law will show the rewards of modern law enforcement, which Nana stresses that not all law enforcement deals with enforcing laws.
It's not every day bad guy after bad guy we're arresting and chasing down, and it really isn't.
And with PCSD covering over 9,000
Oh, there's that plane.
Law enforcement, which Nana stresses that not all law enforcement deals with enforcing laws.
It's not every day bad guy after bad guy we're arresting and chasing down, and it really isn't.
And with
there's that plane that he said, remember when Nancy went missing, this was delayed like 5 hours because he demoted the freaking pilot because he'd complained about Nanos. So this plane couldn't go up for 5 hours.
PCSD covering over 9,000 square miles. Viewers will get to see the various scenarios they deal with.
They go from the urban environment, downtown Tucson, all over, and all the way out even to the 3 Points, Ajo areas.
Nanos tells me you'll of course see serious situations, but there will also be a bit of comedy. And after seeing some of the shots, Nanos says he's hopeful the show will boost tourism.
It's so Tucson.
It'll boost tourism? It's so Tucson, he says.
And all the way out even to the 3 Points, Ajo areas.
Nanos tells me you'll of course see serious situations, but there will also be a bit of comedy. And after seeing some of the shots, Nanos says he's hopeful the show will boost tourism.
It's so Tucson. It was so cool.
Ugh, he is something else. A tidy desk is an unused desk. Is his keyboard all dusty? It is. Oh my god. Oh my god, you guys. Look how dusty his fucking keyboard is. This dude does not do work. There's literal dust marks except for on specific keys for the very limited time he uses his fucking computer. Dude, that thing. Whoa. 5 foot. I'm 5 foot tall in heels. Oh, God. Nanos, you don't do work. Look at him. He's got shit pulled up, though, like he does. What a joke. What a joke. Well, that's a wrap for me, you guys. This wraps up our weekend update. We do this every Monday at high noon Eastern Standard Time. But I really, really appreciate you guys being here. And on your way out, if you haven't hit the like button, please, please do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. And everybody stay safe out there. Some wild stuff. We'll keep our eyes on these cases, and I'm gonna work on that, putting the side by side of plant guy and porch guy. So be looking. We'll go live and we'll talk about it. And let me know in the comments section what else you guys want to go over. But thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. I will miss you until the next time. And Evelyn, I'm getting the new book today. Thank you, Evelyn. The Idaho 4 book. Maybe we can start reading it tomorrow. Let me know what you want to see. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further?
Bring it all in.
And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.